Ready to change your view? Let's go. Cutting-edge metal posters for the next generation of collectors. Geeky, magnet-mounted, incredibly stylish. Modern wall art that hits every beat. Discover officially licensed designs from the brands you love and watch them work as a team. Welcome to a whole new wall. Displate. Collect your passions.
Here we go again. Walk like I mean it, yeah. Talk like I seen it, yeah. Live it, cause I dreamed it. You could've did it too, but you didn't mean it. Light up like a phoenix. Ooh, I'm hot. Yeah, beaming. I'm really here to give the people what they needed. Somebody built Fort Tough, hardcore like a need.
Ready to change your view? Let's go. Cutting-edge metal posters for the next generation of collectors. Geeky, magnet-mounted, incredibly stylish. Modern.
How bad? Yeah, I'm good. So good. Yeah, I'm strong. So strong. Something you wish you was. I'm back now. I'm back. Don't back down. I'll never back down. I'm back now. I'm back. Look at my crown. I never back down. I'm back now. I'm back. Always stand up. Always stand proud. I'm back now. I'm back. Always stand up. I'll never back down. Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself at the PC thinking about your health? You're ready to make a change, but you either tried and failed before, or you simply feel confused about where to start.
At Games for Gamers, we've developed the Inner Circle, a system designed exclusively for gamers who want to shed fat, gain muscle, and become overall healthier without having to grind it out on the treadmill or skip those snack breaks during gaming.
We've already helped over 1,000 gamers. Gamers like Casper, who dropped an amazing 80 kilograms in just 40 weeks, allowing him to fit his favorite clothes once again.
And let's not forget about KP. He's been adding on some solid lean muscle mass while also reducing his body fat percentage. And those two are just the tip of the iceberg.
So if you're ready to get in shape without having to compromise your life or gaming, then visit gamesforgamers.com and use the code ECHO for 30% off.
With generational improvements, aesthetic updates, and our consistently high build quality, this system is bound to be the envy of both family and friends alike. For yours, check out StarForgeSystems.com, and I'll see you in the Forge.
Who got it? For honor. Who won it? show pipes.
Download now!
At Echo, we aren't just gamers.
We're a small team of passionate and dedicated professionals.
We strive to deliver the best entertainment we can.
We don't hold back, and we aren't shy to share our entire journey with you.
From behind the scenes
To capturing the best moments in gaming history.
We take you with us on an epic adventure.
Our goal is to keep pushing the boundaries
and innovate how we can deliver the best experiences
For our audience,
And our partners.
because without you, events like these wouldn't be possible.
So on behalf of the entire Echo team,
we thank you.
If you would like to join us as we continue to create captivating events like these,
get in touch with us at partnerships@echoesports.gg.
Good morning, gamers. It is just about time for the European servers to come up. I'm Dratnos, joined by Preach, and we are here looking for the start of the day here, wondering what Echo will get up to. Overnight, Liquid were in normal splits. Normal splits was the plan for them. I suspect we'll see a similar thing here, but could surprise us. You never know.
After watching yesterday, obviously we're back in EU.
Yeah, we flew back.
Yeah, we flew back last night.
That was it. We moved the set. We're out of Minnesota. We're back in Sweden now.
It's equally as cold.
Yeah.
It's 5 a.m. here in Sweden. The boys have been here since 3.
Some of them have, yeah. I was here overnight, and I saw some of them come in, yeah.
I came in and I cheered. I was like, "It's race day, boys!" And they went, grumpy-faced boys who are ready to get some big gear on themselves. And we are expecting a lot of splits this time around because, of course, gearing a little bit tougher this time, Dratnos, reducing that amount of tier dropping and stuff. So that means divide that crew up a bit more. But when they're going to make that choice to break into Mythic, we don't know. We'll see how it's going to go over the next couple of days.
Yeah, I suspect it's going to be more of a marathon than a sprint on the gearing process this time around. I think that they will they will make sure to get every possible bit of efficiency as possible, but it does look like the servers are up. We can see where Gingy is an Amirdrassil instance.
Yep.
Killing some trash. I'm trying to look in the upper right there to see if there's a skull. I think there's not, so this is normal. Looks like, yeah, normal splits, exclamation point splits in chat. So if you are on the European servers and you are awake at this hour, first of all, you know what's going on, right? Like, it's
come on,
5
you're
a.m.
asking gamers why they're not up on server reset?
Okay, all right. But second of all, we need your help. So if you are on any of the European servers, exclamation point splits in the chat, and you'll be able to join in and help out and help the team out, get some of this good gear.
It's a really, people always ask about splits, but it's a really good opportunity for a number of things. One, come play with the boys. Hopefully you're supporting the Echo team over in EU, because if you're not, why? Really? You got to support America? That's what you're doing?
Yeah, come on, guys.
No offense to you, obviously. But the other side of it is, of course, get all your achievements early. You know what that puck life is like. You're out there and they're going, link achieve in the first 10 minutes of server up, otherwise you're not invited whatsoever. You're guaranteed to get your achieves.
Also, great vault slots. You know, your Echo gets the loot, but you get great vault slots out of it, which that's a pretty good thing to get these first couple weeks.
It certainly is. The Great Vault's such a wonderful addition to the game, and we're going to see Evergreen, which was thrown around a lot at BlizzCon. Evergreen, to make things happen. And of course, the Great Vault, especially in the start of a new season, you get those whopping big upgrades as soon as the server reset comes in next week, and you'll be flying. You'll get an advantage that you may not ordinarily get, certainly if you're one of the solo players out there, or you've got alts in your guild and you want to get them nice and easily geared up. But obviously, Echo is looking to collect your shinies that drop in return for achieves and getting all the stuff that will make your life easier forevermore throughout this season, which is going to be the final true raid season.
Yeah, I was pretty sad, pretty bummed to hear that. You know, it was a lot of exciting news at BlizzCon, and then it just felt like, oh, but then we got another year of one raid, right? And
well, Fated was fun.
Fated was fun. Fated, I felt like Fated was definitely better than the Siege of Orgrimmar and Ice Crown Citadel and Hellfire Citadel farms, but I do think that this is, I still think it's worse than an actual tier. Obviously, you're happy about what you can get, but it's it was still like a sad piece of news at BlizzCon. A lot of us anticipated it. The addition of the Infinite Augment Rune made a lot of us think like, okay, then the AOTC mount, right? Those are features you usually associate with the end of an expansion, but I still kind of didn't really believe it until I heard it on the BlizzCon stage.
It was so blasé said as well.
Yeah.
And of course, Amirdrassil's the last raid. Like, wait, what?
Well, that's how you announce something that's not good news, right? Is you do it low key.
And we're
That's
also
good
releasing
tech.
Diablo Immortal, which is fine.
Yep.
And then we're gonna go. We're gonna go over here and do this.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. And we are obviously doing so much. We're gonna make splits as fun as possible for you guys. We have tons of stuff. We've got some. Well, I try and say fun, but they're just called punishment ducks, or the ducks of despair, or whatever they've been titled. We'll be seeing that later today. With some stuff going on. The casters get a lot of abuse during this time. Roger doesn't understand. He comes in and is like, so the caster's happy. What are you going to do during splits? Because he has no idea what we do over here at all because he's playing. And we're like, okay, generally abuse.
Yeah. we talk about the bosses for the first split. The second split, we're kind of still doing that, and then by the third and the fourth split, things start to get a little weird around here.
The concert jar's breaking out. As the group is filling up, thank you guys. You are amazing. One thing we don't know, and maybe you watched some of the Liquid. Obviously, I did get a couple of hours sleep. We streamed until pretty late. Those of us who were casting this morning went and had a couple of hours. Did Liquid do okay? Because it seemed we had a full Echo team that obviously got the world first Farak yesterday.
Yeah.
Normal mode. But they smashed it to pieces. But so far, so good, we think. Consistent, no wipies.
Yeah, Liquid seemed to be. I mean, I don't know how fast they were compared to their targets or anything like that, or compared to how fast Echo's going to be, per split. I think Liquid were running 3 normal splits simultaneously as well, so we'll kind of have to see if that's what Echo are able to match as well. I think that number makes sense for normal. I'm going to be curious how much they're going to be able to do in parallel on Heroic, and I wonder what the sequencing is going to be as well. Like, when normal's done, I wonder if you go M+, or if you go Heroic, because Heroic's going to be hard. And
no one killed Farak yet.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean a lot yet in the first day. A lot of people leave Farak until the end.
I think the leaderboard we're looking at here is Heroic.
That's what I mean. No one's killed Farak Heroic yet.
Because Farak Normal, of course, has been killed several times now by a bunch of different guilds. But yeah, the farthest along anybody is in Heroic is ID, BDG, and XD, all sitting at that 8 of 9 and starting to pull Farak Heroic. So it'd be cool if that went down. In North America, it's in the middle to the end of the raid night for the average guild, so they probably still could put another 20 pulls or so into that boss. We'll see if it's something that is relatively doable at a quick pace at that low item level. I mean, item level 445, 446, it would be very impressive if those guilds were able to kill that boss tonight in one night.
Typically, they leave it to like the end of the week.
Yeah, usually you don't see the Heroic AOTC day one. Especially when you factor in the extra 13 item levels, I would be surprised to see it. But, these guilds are really good, and sometimes the Heroic end boss, especially if the tuning from Sarkareth continues, can be a little bit easier than, Heroic Sire Denathrius, Heroic Gahoon type bosses that were pretty nasty.
For me was Blackhand, actually. We're doing it in split runs, because, our split runs that we did in our guild was like half mains, half alts, or whatever. But some of these end bosses on Heroic regularly have been tougher than the first Mythic bosses.
Oh, yeah. Very, very frequently true, yeah.
I'm trying to see how many splits they're doing. So we've got... Can we do some... let's get production going. You got us up at 5 a.m. Let's have a spin through. We've got... obviously, Velo there is in one group, but looking at it, I think we've got... Is that Revez is in a different group?
Yeah, looks like Ryson was there watching Velo, perhaps. Here we have...
Zerwo's in there. It looks like Mirez is starting another group.
Okay, so there's a 30-person group, a 10-person group, and there was a 20-person group, right? If we go back to... Yeah, unless maybe people have their raid frame set to max 20 still, but I think that is looking like 3 splits, and we do have...
Scripe's just not playing.
Yeah, okay.
So you can see Echo split Team D, Echo splits. So they're doing 4?
Well,
they're doing 4.
Yeah, that's
Team C, Team A, Team...
Well,
we seem to be...
There is there's the classic prank, right, of the classic high school prank of releasing 3 pigs in your, high school campus.
Okay, this is so American, but
No, this is true. This is a classic prank. And you'd release 3 pigs throughout the high school campus or whatever, and you'd paint a 1, a 2, and a 4 on them.
Oh.
Yeah, so that could be what they're doing as well. That's all I'm saying. They could be Could be a misdirect on the
Where are you
splits
getting
there.
all these picks from?
Well, you go to a farm or something, you know?
Can't relate.
Okay, yeah.
Can't relate to having easy access picks that I could yoink for
It might have been
pranks.
cows, I don't know. It's some, you can pick up any farm animal you want. All I'm saying is...
cows?
It
Just
could,
saying
you know...
cows loose in the school. That sounds really dangerous.
That's the joy of a great prank, right? You gotta straddle that line between danger and safety, right?
I suppose so. Just imagine opening my classroom door and seeing a cow go past.
All right, so we have a ready check for Zalia. So that is a
On the
full
Mistweaver.
30-player split. Yeah, Zalia...
Six Priest, now he's playing Mistweaver.
We can't read too much into that, right? Because, of course, during splits, they are going to be playing a bunch of different characters. I mean, you're right. This is a groundbreaking discovery here. Yeah, Zalia on the Mistweaver.
Clearly, they've redesigned the whole raid and bamboozled us with his 6 priests.
Yeah, those were another misdirect. Echo just full of those. The NA misdirect.
Yeah, this will be for armor types to make sure they kind of push it in one way. We've got a lot of leathery boys in there, but we've got some mages, some evokers rocking, and a couple of hunters. Well, it's yeah, everyone's on a fair mix. Gingy is rocking the hunter as well, trying to feed as much as they possibly can. Obviously, the way they do these splits, guys, I can't wait to share with you the spreadsheet. I know it's super nerdy, but when you see this thing, it's colossal. It's like a CIA operation.
Ooh.
Yeah, they have like 4 people who are like, okay, you go here, you go here. Because they need to do it. Again, we were talking yesterday about the efficiency of these splits, because they don't want to be here longer than absolutely necessary. It is cutting into Mythic time. Mythic is available.
Right.
It's sat there. It's waiting for you. So they need to get through here as fast as humanly possible, and especially when they're talking about maybe 2 or 3 days of being in here. Every minute counts.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think that's. But you know, they're under some pressure already. Every single race, Echo comes in under some pressure of like they can look and see what Liquid got done, right? And they can be like, okay, you know, we've got to get that much done or more, or else we're falling behind, and that's not something they would like to do. Although they, you know, they're sitting on the world first normal kill this time around. That's not something they've had in previous tiers. Maybe that will be the boost to morale that they need to be starting off these splits strong.
I think it's safe to reveal now, considering the clock has ticked, is they were really hoping to have like a couple of hours post-stream, just messing around with Farak, testing some science out, help them some things out, but their characters got bugged. And for the instance was just clear. They like kicked somebody out so they could have a reset for Farak, and the character was just still clear.
Oh, brutal. Okay.
Yeah, that's when they got up and left. Yeah, we got a message on production last night. They were like, okay, the guys are just going. And they came out and they went, yeah, our lockout guy got bugged out. And
that's brutal.
Yeah, we were like, does Blizzard do it intentionally? Like, no, I don't think so. He just got bugged out, and they couldn't do anything as they start clearing the trash here to Null Route and get ready. So we should see some efficient clear. I like the way they do this is internal races, Dranos, between each team.
That's the best way to do it. It's the best way to do anything, really, is to turn it into a game. Like, if you've got anything you want to get done ever, you're going to have a more fun time, and you're going to have a more efficient time if you can turn it into a little game, right? That's
And Mirez is the salty one here. He's not even inside. Mirez benched from splits.
No way.
Yeah, already. Oh, there we go. I can see the invite coming out to Mirez now. He has joined. I think this is group 4.
Okay, yeah. So let's see if we can confirm that Echo are doing 4 splits, because I think they probably are. But we have one group with Gnarl Root at 50%. Do we have any other
cycle
groups?
Through
Yeah,
Velo's group hasn't.
So we have
pulled
one
yet.
group that hasn't pulled, where it's just respawning. Okay, so that's 2. We have one group that might have been the same one.
Mirez has just started clearing the trash in his group, so he's working his way up there. And yeah, they're doing their best. It does look like there's 4.
So we have the Mirez group. We have the Velo group.
Clicks has just pulled.
Yeah. Okay, we have the Clicks group. And then we also have that first group we were looking at that had already pulled the boss.
Yep.
So, all right, yeah, it looks like Echo's on 4 splits. That's, I mean, that's more. I believe Liquid are running 3.
I mean, race over.
I'm not confident enough to assert that with 100% confidence, but I believe Liquid were on the 3 split life here. So, you know, if Echo can do it efficiently and 4, that's going to mean it'll take less time to get all of them done. But of course, doing 4 splits efficiently is.
Well, I mean, you're bringing less. The problem is you're bringing less of your main raiders.
Right.
That's the thing. So you might be able to do more splits, but there's less.
Are you
general
clearing
power.
as quickly?
Yeah.
You know, also, like, just how many raiders are there in the region that are going to be able to come and help you out as well? Because EU region's more contested than the NA region for helpers as well. And this time slot, it's very early in the day.
Oh, no one's helping Method. Come on, guys.
It goes down. All right, Zalia gets their gets the first kill on the board, I think, for any of the splits. Yes?
Yeah, so Zayla and Clicks are in the same group, I think. Yep, they're in the same group. Velo's still not pulled, neither's Roger, slacking. Gingy's group, can we go over to Mike? Yeah, so Gingy's group's at 50%, and they're putting in work to see that go down. Looks like Revez is in that group as well. It's going to have to see. Yeah, there he is. I can see him working well here. And, yeah, they're looking good, actually.
So do we want to
maybe normal, but
maybe discuss a little bit? Speaking of, I realize now we haven't talked at all about normal, but this would be the first opportunity to do so.
I love this boss actually.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Boss, yeah, I put it. I mean, I know recently you and Max on the worst podcast name of all time.
Ah, the old Potty C.
Jesus Christ, dude, that has to change. So I'll tell you what, they called it the Potty C. I'm like,
that's a good podcast name.
So bad. It's a Max name for sure.
It is. Part of his aesthetic of just the most scuffed things possible, which I respect, I endorse.
But you were talking about like first bosses. Like, what is the best, what is the worst of all time? It's pretty close to what my guesses were as it was going through. I was like, I mean, we all agreed to Stone Legion General. Did you talk to the Stone Legion General dev?
I don't think so.
Did you not
I think there's a good chance that if I speak to the Stone Legion dev, they're not going to tell me they're the Stone Legion dev, right? Like that's.
He did to me. He was like, because he'd watched my comments on it. Because Stone Legion Generals, although I have killed mythic bosses since with friends, that was my last true prog boss.
Yeah.
Because Alex benched me for Denathrius. He's like, we just don't need the hunter. I'm like,
oh,
you
dude.
really? We're doing stuff. And then my guild disbanded 1 minute after Denathrius died.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, so literally, Stone Legion Generals Mythic is my last true prog that I did. I was like, you're going to leave me with this, Alex? This is my legacy. This is where we call it a day. But they were like, I'm really sorry, but... Things went wrong. But in terms of an opening boss, I love Mythic Raiding first boss. Something you can blast. Mm-hmm. It's not going to eat your mental away.
Yeah.
It's not something you're really going to wipe on. And you can have a lot of fun. We've got a lot of AoE. You can do some cool stuff. The mechanics are...
Yeah, you can pat on AoE. There's a damage amp on the boss. You can pat on the boss as well.
Yep.
That's great. That's perfect for me for a first boss. So it's pretty exciting. There's this damage amp phase you can see right now from Roger. Is Roger playing or is he? No, he's spectating. It looks like he's watching Velo play. So yeah, this damage amp phase, that was great. You get like 20 seconds of 100% increased damage on the boss.
Look at that HP.
So fun.
Slurped. Absolutely slurped is our boy Naru. Unfortunate, as Clix's group is forging ahead. Onigiri the Cruel, and we've already had a death there. This is the risk you do have with some splits. Is we will Echo will bring you along. They probably are sifting through item levels a little bit, but they're gonna bring you along anyway just to help out. But obviously you can on occasion get some players who are like, I have no idea what's happening.
It's actually really exciting as well because. So I personally don't like the whole helpers in the Race World First thing. I would get rid of it if I could.
Either, yeah.
But given that it's there, I think one of the really cool parts of helpers being in the Race World First is that there's this awesome strategy of like teaching the fight, like raid leading for a bunch of helpers to come in as well. That's something that Echo have been working on as well. So coming up with like a good series of like raid warnings or getting them in voice and then having somebody who's able to lead through voice all the helpers that are coming in. And
what was that boss they drafted Scripe in for? Do you remember one of the splits?
Yeah, I suspect we'll see that again. Whichever split is doing worse, Scripe will probably come in to help catch them up to the other ones. So
yeah, I know we had to do that once. I'm trying to think what boss it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Sarkareth. I think it might have been.
Could well have been, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like Razageth for like controlling, spread, gather, push back, all these things, and they kept wiping, and then Scripe came in and raid lead the crap out of it and got it done. Which looks like what Roger's doing as well. I think that might be part of the efficiency play, actually.
Yeah.
Is like, let's divide up our more seasoned raid leaders into each group. But remember, we're not disrespecting the helpers by any way. This is not doable without you guys.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, the guys would like to just jump into Mythic like they used to.
Of course, yeah.
That's the point we're trying to make there, is the guys would obviously be like, okay, can we have Heroic Week back, Ian? Hello?
Yeah.
Please? That would be nice.
I suspect with the way gearing works right now, if there was a Heroic Week, we would see helpers involved with it again, because like the amount of optimization, if there was a Heroic Week, you would do at that time now with how far the like arms race has progressed between Echo and Liquid. I suspect a Heroic Week would be basically like a full week of like the fullest degenerate splits you could imagine.
Yeah, usually they tried to because back in the day when we had a Heroic Week, they used to play for like 6 days.
Yeah, and then there was a travel day.
Yeah, and then they would day off.
Yeah,
a day off before it all kicks off. But we did get to start with Mythic, which was always nice. But this is fine. The guys have actually got so optimized at it that this we're still kind of looking for a 6 to 10 day race. Even with these multi-days of splits. We don't think this is going to be like the Sarkareth raid where it's like, okay, splits are done, and then everything just died.
Yeah, of course, those sorts of predictions are hard to... I think that's the common vibe, right? I think people are expecting it to be harder than Sarkareth and, have the mythic progression last longer than the splits, which, of course, everybody's rooting for, but you do never quite know.
What did you think of Farak?
I thought Farak looked really cool. So
yes.
This is the normal Farak that, of course, Echo got the world first kill of yesterday. I thought that boss looked sweet. Yeah, it seems exciting. Seems like a pretty good Death Knight fight was my vibe. There seemed like a lot of nice ads that'd be good to grip together. So that's I'm playing DK this tier, and I'm feeling good about it.
I
but
think
also
your raid spot is secured, right? You're the tank.
That's true. That's true.
You don't need to bargain.
I'm feeling like bringing some DPS DKs even for that fight as well. It's gonna be sick.
Sweet.
A lot of ads around
looks
there.
like a bunch of soft enrages.
Yeah,
which is got that Echo Neltharion vibe. It's like, can we push just over? Did we have to use Bloodlust? Can we sink the Bloodlust and not do it there to get over this? Because we saw that encroaching firewall that was edging through to push the guys in. All the ads, all the different things going on. Protecting your seeds.
Yep.
Gotta look after it. And as Alex pointed out, tell you what, two things I wanted to talk to you about is, obviously Nagura noticed yesterday is that they've made it so you can't overstack to reduce the area denial. So if you try to, say, drop your debuff on a patch that already exists through some immunity or damage reduction, it just bounces on the floor and bounces somewhere else in the room. It's like,
Love
no.
Yeah.
Blizzard coming up with all kinds of way of anti-cheesing what would typically be your brain strat. It's like, oh, I got bubble or whatever. I can go and run in, or a cloak, and I can go and run in this and get us a lot more room. Nope, not happening. They are anti, and we've got it as well on... you've made me start calling it T-Swift.
Yeah, T-Swift. Great boss. Great singer.
It's a 2-for-1.
It is a 2-for-1.
2 in 1.
My favorite type of thing. Yeah.
But on that one, you can't immune the roots without spawning the ads. Usually you'd have a freedom going or something like that. Blizzard come in more creative ways than just this pierces immunity.
Yeah, I like it because you can still freedom yourself if you need to get out of the root, but it will spawn the ad, right? So the freedom still does what it says on it. It's not one of those things where they just had to be like, okay, bubble doesn't actually work against this, right? Which I always hate that because it feels like it kind of breaks the promise of that ability. But instead just being like, yeah, you can freedom it, you'll get the movements immune, but you'll still spawn this ad, so.
That certainly will, as Igera the Cruel goes down for Gingy's group. Clixie's group is far into the fire wing.
Wow.
They're moving there. Kush is not even in the raid yet, I don't think. Oh, no, he is. Yeah, Kush is in Gingy's group. Trying to assess where everybody is. Andy Brew obviously waiting to go through and see where he can get to. Mirez is still working on Igera. It looks like Mirez is still, his group's still doing that.
Yeah, they were the last to form, I believe. So if they can finish in anything above 4th place, they'll be really happy, I think.
Oh, Mirez is not going to be happy with 4th place.
Yeah, Mirez very competitive in these splits with the team competition. I think probably one of the single strongest points for the Echo overall morale has got to be Mirez. That guy's just always a blast.
He's always focused.
Yeah,
well.
he's that combination of focused and yet, he'll crack like a really good meme. That's, I think, the most valuable kind of raider for team morale. I'm in charge of morale for my guild, so I'm trained to analyze.
So you're like
these
the
sorts of
cheerleader.
things. Yeah, that's.
Are you morale officer?
I am morale officer, and that is in fact my title.
No way.
Yeah, that is
what
that is
are your
true
duties
lore.
involved, right? What are your duties involved?
Making sure morale stays high. Mostly.
Do you individually send each like mails in the post? Do you do a weekly poll?
There is one raider I have that's fairly high maintenance, so I do send him some in-game mails from time to time, just reassuring him he's doing a good job.
Do you know for 6 months I sent Fat Boss Loz, obviously we have Alex on the sides, but they were part of the Fat Boss Brothers. For 6 months I sent him anonymous messages in the post from an alt account that was accusing him of manipulating the auction house, and I was going to report him to Blizzard and everything. He got really conspiratorial about the whole thing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I kept leaving him like sinister messages and stuff. I was like, don't worry, Loz. I will know where you are. Like things like this. I did it for 6 months sending him these letters until we were on Discord chatting. And he was actually about to report me to Blizz, and I had to come clean. Because he was starting to, it's really freaking me out now. Because no matter, he was telling us what he was doing. He's like, oh, okay, we got some BOEs, we're going to post them to the auction house. So I'd immediately log to the
I can send the mail with that knowledge.
I was sending the letter saying, I've seen you put more BOEs on the auction house, undercutting our prices. It was like the black market mafia was what I was indicating.
Oh, the crafting mafia,
yeah. It was pre that.
The
this is during Shadowlands, but I was saying we were part of that sort of similar vibe, and we were aware aware of Loz's actions, and he got super creeped out. And then other raiders were like, you should just report him, whoever it might be. And I was like, dude, it's me. I sent him a screenshot of the cards. He was like, you've been doing this for 6 months.
Uh-oh. Looks like a reset attempt coming in here for Echo, maybe going the wrong way. Unfortunate for old Click Split.
Raid go boom. And this is what Mirez needs to take that advantage.
That's true.
This is all good in Mirez's eyes. This is going to allow him to catch up as they are now working on Agira. And Agira is going to go down for Mirez. That stoic expression.
Yeah, Mirez is definitely in 4th place among the splits. So all the other groups we can see are in that kind of fiery area after this.
They certainly are. They're either clearing the trash or they're in front of Wormy Boy. Don't like the name of this one. Volcross?
Yeah.
Volcaros.
Difficult one for sure.
But he's Wormy Boy. I was hoping he'd put up a bit more of a fight. I don't expect in Mythic we will see Wormy Friend for very long. Although the fight on Mythic, I mean, it has potential. We've said this a few times.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these fights throughout that have like a massive potential to actually be really, really hard. But
it would require a degree of intent from Blizzard for it to be hard that I don't think exists for a boss this early in the raid is the problem. But I do think the mechanics of it are definitely well suited to being difficult. The other counter argument as well that maybe means it would be a little bit harder than you'd think is that there's the extra item level jump, right? So if they come in to fight that boss this week and they're going to be 465, 470 or something, and the boss is designed to be killed by people that are 475, 480, something like that, it might actually still be a really, really difficult challenge this week. If we see that on this boss, on a boss this early, then that means buckle up for a multi-week race for sure.
Yeah, because it could be boss 5.
Yeah.
They do have choices.
Do it as late as 5th, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting early. I mean, this is kind of where Echo does pick up some advantage on the non-global releases to see which route did Liquid take.
Right.
It definitely swings around as who has the advantage with the staggered release of the raid. One of the advantages Echo does have is they can go, okay, clearly, Volcaros is either pretty hard, so we should do it later on, or actually this is free loot, let's go and get it. And it will be Liquid, etc., who are going to poke the bear and see which way is the way to go. And hopefully not get stuck like we've seen in the past on bosses that didn't work. I mean, that goes all the way back to TBC, where you had 3 raids simultaneously.
Yeah.
Because we had Tempest Keep, we had... and then my brain's gone blank.
Serpentine Cavern was the one that went with Tempest Keep, and then I think those 2 were by themselves, but there was the tier with Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon's Lair.
We had that, and then we had SSC and TK, but you didn't know which boss was easier.
Yeah.
And then
the answer was Loot Reaver, Void Reaver, but that was the easiest one in there.
Yeah, that was good, but do you remember Solarian?
Yeah.
Nobody knew it had been nerfed, because Blizzard never let you know that they'd nerfed the bosses, so Solarian was unkillable. Until I think it was For the Horde went and just thought, let's have a look, and it had been apparently nerfed into the ground, and they one-shot it. It was people were hard stuck and ignoring that boss for ages and working on something else.
That tier, so I was a pretty casual raider in TBC. I was 14 or whatever, just getting started with the game, and we're raiding Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, and Magtheridon's Lair, that whole expansion. But we would go into Tempest Keep to kill Void Reaver, and we would go into Serpentine Cavern to kill the Lurker below, because those bosses were easy.
They were.
Couldn't do any of the others. They were all too hard.
What era did you do that? Did you have to do the attunement? Because you still had to attune.
Yes. Yeah, we had to attune.
Did you do original Magtheridon?
Yeah.
The original version where the ads respawned, the trash respawned.
Maybe not.
After 30 minutes.
No, the fight. It was in 2.1 or something that I started, so I think that was probably after after that was nerfed.
So much for not experiencing that nightmare of being are we finally going to kill? Because Magtheridon was pretty tricky in his first incarnation, and then suddenly all the goblins would run in and they could one-shot the whole raid. One of them could.
Yeah.
They were brutal. You had to line of sight them in an open corridor.
Okay, I definitely didn't have to do that, yeah.
Oh, some of the most horrific trash.
That's good.
Yeah, TBC was known, launch TBC was known for the most horrific trash of all time. Not a problem for the classic guys, obviously they've been prepared for it and been changed, and we will see that in Cataclysm, which is going to be an interesting launch.
No, hear me out. Cataclysm is when it starts to get really hard. That's when these raids are going to be challenging, and they'll last for more than an hour on the on the classic versions.
They should do pre-nerf Alakia, where Paragon couldn't even go on the platform. Remember that classic where half the raid had to hang out for 40% of the boss?
Ooh.
Oof. I remember watching that video and losing my mind when it was so intense. They had this epic 2 steps from hell music playing, and these hunters were diving off the platform to disengage around the tornadoes, and then it went. We had crickets chirping, and half the raid was stood behind a pillar, not even doing the fight.
Oh no!
It was so bad. The world first kill of that video is amazing to watch. And then they all join at like 50%. They all jump over at the end to help out kill the boss.
That's really good.
Best raid design ever.
That's when you get the like flying mode on that fight, right? Is that
no?
Okay.
The portals were still there. The problem was Blizzard hadn't accounted for 25 manas. I think
okay, so they only gave 10 buffs or something.
There was just not enough space on the platform without it chain lightning. Because what happened is it would pizza slice the platform, so you couldn't stand in there. And with 25 players, there was too many players, and it would chain to everybody. So Paragon's solution was let's just have half the raid not even on the platform.
Love it.
Yeah, so they would wait for phase 1 to end, and then they would all jump over until then we would eventually get to phase 3, which is the flying phase.
I see.
So I doubt the fight will launch in that state because they eventually nerf it.
Be a good prank.
Or maybe. Yeah, but they could do the druids on Nefarian again. The old, was it 17 druids, the feral druids they used on the original Nefarian world first. The cats out in force, which was also nerfed after Paragon cheesed it. They came up with some of the most obscene strats.
Dude, feral was so good for a couple expansions there as well, right? Like
Wrath of the Lich King in particular.
Yeah,
was great.
Wrath, Kata, Mop. Those were the good times to be kitten.
I was a cat.
Yeah.
I was a tank, but feral druid was so strong that they were like, we need you to be feral. And it was strange to be so far ahead of number 2 on the damage meter.
Oh,
it was bizarre.
Good feeling.
It was like 6%, which was obscene by that time to be that far ahead. But still, you only brought 1. Like, the ferals have had a rough history in World of Warcraft, despite that, even when they're overwhelmingly strong, still just 1.
Interesting. Yeah, tragic. Then you see stuff like mages and warlocks, and it's like they're doing like the same damage as everybody else. Okay, we'll bring 17 of you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll stack you in our raid. Yeah, good deal.
Yep, ferals, not so much.
Yeah.
There's some loot.
Yeah, a little bit of loot getting traded around. Well, it's interesting. So you have 4 hours to trade it, which I think they'll probably just make the decisions at the end of each run rather than try and have people log out and log back in to make the decisions later, because I'm not sure that would be worth trying to manage. Not sure how much advantage you gain.
We don't crush his face right now because it's actually amazing. He's so annoyed at Gingy's damage. It's incredible.
Wow. Okay. We'll see if we get a replay up of that. Yeah. I've heard that there's some issues with Beast Mastery and details of some kind, but I think it might. This looks just legitimate to me. Yeah. That seems likely that he's just doing that much damage in AoE. That spec is not normally.
No, and also really, I mean, obviously difficult to play though. So it's probably Gingy mastery of the BM spec that is allowing him to push that much further ahead than the other BM hunter in the raid.
That's probably accurate. Okay, here is our replay as Kush is taking a look over at the damage meter in a second here.
Look at the glance.
Hang on.
What the hell?
Opens the details.
I love the confusion of
what? Wow. Am I playing the wrong spec?
No, he's asking Gingy, what are you doing?
Just utter disgust and confusion. Beautiful. Take a look there.
Look at the breakdown. What's going on?
What buffs do you have, man? Power
you got infusion? 2 power infusions.
There's no way. That's not... Huh? Are you kidding me?
Rerolling.
Yeah, is it too late? Scripe, I gotta change the splits, man. Can you fit in another couple hunters?
Yep. BM clearly broken. I think that was just trash DPS as well.
Yeah,
It's like not even important, but that's what you need is those DPSs that care every single mob. Every HP bar is a challenge.
Absolutely. No, I mean, for Race to World First as well, if you're going to spend 3 days in splits and you have players that are going to, like, you actually want to be thinking about, doing your optimal damage on the trash as well and not losing any time to that kind of stuff too. So again, making it a competition, having everybody always be trying to be the best on each of the trash pulls is a very good way to do that.
Trash is where you lose way more time.
It's so true. Yeah. At my guild, we've had this discussion going into this year of like, look, this is something that we need to be able to do better, right? To do faster, because it is equally, a minute of trash is equally good as a minute of boss pulling, right? Like that's.
You have players like Krista, right? And as soon as the trash comes, she gets the trash. She's like, "I'll be right back."
Yeah, be right back.
I've got you on follow. Just gonna find the cheese doodles wherever they might be.
Yeah, or just can you guys summon me once you get to the boss?
Oh, summon me at the boss.
Yeah, summon me at the boss.
Cringe.
And also, can anybody get me some enchants and food and flasks? Thank you very much.
Oh god, you give me so much flashbacks. To
I'll
Greeks.
pay you back later.
The Greeks are the worst for that.
I don't have any. don't have any gold on me.
I don't
so.
want to judge an entire country, but the Greeks are universally known for it. They are.
Are you sure you don't want to judge an entire country? Because it sounds like you're pretty excited to jump right there.
Including Roger, I've never played with any of the Greeks who haven't at some point during the raid just needed to go out of the raid for something that they've forgotten. And they all play from the same web cafe.
Okay.
Every single Greek player who plays World of Warcraft, all in the same web cafe. And they have like universal, it's time to go and get a kebab. It's time to go play backgammon outside. Something like they all do it. And it's a cultural thing.
I see. So you have to schedule the raid time around it. Is that the meta here? Oh.
Now I'm doing damage.
Wowee.
That's the duality of man right there.
Yeah.
Pete on the damage meter, doing well on the damage meter.
He is doing some pretty good damage here. Although, again, the Beast Mastery Plague is atop the meters at current moment.
I'll put you a gifted sub on your stream that after this he checks Gingy's damage profile again.
Oh, you are.
I'll gamble with you on this one.
That is that's a losing bet for sure.
You think so?
Is that Gingy at the top there? Yeah.
It is. I guarantee you guys.
Okay,
as soon as
after
Larry
this
falls,
poll, he opens up Gingy's damage breakdown. If he does, I owe you a sub. If he doesn't, you owe me a sub.
If you want to accept the bet, I kind of thrust that upon you.
No, I accept your terms. This is a good bet. I like it. Yeah, all right, deal.
He's getting double BM'd into the ground right now. He's absolutely getting BM'd into the floor. And you can see the focus. Look at that focus there. It's like when Scripe showed that clip of when he says Bloodlust and none of the raiders speak. Until the Bloodlust ends, their meanings immediately start. Once they're focused on damage, it's something else. But Larry will be going down here, posing no threat with that area denial in normal mode for the guys. This is actually going really smoothly for them.
Yeah, we've got to stay on Cushion's perspective here because we have a very important thing to check afterwards with whether the details meter opens up.
I want that sweet victory.
Yeah.
Come on, kill Larry. Oh, that GG's just pulling further ahead, by the way.
Yeah,
like, the odds are really in my favor.
He can't even have that sick loot yet. Like, they've just started. It's not even like, oh, he got a great loot from Heroic. They haven't done Heroic yet.
No.
Where is this damage coming from? That's crazy. All right, down it goes.
Checks the loot.
Checks the loot, clicks all the needs.
Needy, greedy.
And then hopefully we're off to do some more trash. Let's see.
Okay,
a couple items.
Goodies.
Okay, that's good. Anything he's thinking about that's not damage, if we can get a new trash pull started soon, that'll reset the details meter as well. And I would win.
Oh, come on, Kush.
We'll see. He already looked at them before the boss as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
I feel like he's been asked a question.
He's looking at some items as well. He's got to look at the items. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about this one.
He's ruining everything.
Is there any trash they have to fight here is the question, because if they've just got a long walk, then that could be kind of
Oh, he's got to do the trading. This is not fair. He's got to do the trading, actually. He's the loot master.
Yeah, well, they all need on everything, right? And then they just trade to the...
Yeah, he's doing the distribution.
Oh, no.
Come on, instinct kick in as a DP. Oh, he's got to manage the loot. He's jamming.
This is getting a hand. Now there's two of them.
Mm-hmm. This is no good. I can't believe he let me down like this.
There's a little bit more trash.
Yeah, he's still trading loot. He's checking other people.
Inspecting.
See who needs what.
Now they're probably going to skip this. Liquid were skipping this trash as much as they could. They would do a movement speed boost and a shroud, and then they'd get like halfway through and then wipe.
Shroud
and do a death skip. We'll see if that's how they do it. Okay, no shroud's going to be
available. Oh, you can't go away. He's about to do it.
They've activated some flowers.
You win. They've pulled.
All right.
You win. All right. I hope you're out a gifty.
Well, well, well. Luckily for you, I would have to turn on my stream for you to redeem that.
Oh, you're not streaming by here?
I haven't streamed much the past little while.
I'll get you at some point. There will at some point be a Dratno stream, I'm sure.
I'll do one at some point while I'm here.
Yeah.
It's tough because there's so much I'm trying to do and focus on. I haven't been able to turn on the streams much.
It's always been a busy couple of days.
Oh, yeah?
At the start, I'm so excited every time we get to the race and get going.
Me too.
We had a nice couple of days, though, of everybody just getting together. But it's considered we all saw each other last week, for the most part.
Yeah, I've been talking. It's so weird. You know, we were all meeting up here in Sweden after all meeting up in Los Angeles literally a week ago, right? That's
But I didn't get to talk. I mean, I spoke to you a couple of times, but you were working BlizzCon like a noob. Like, I always dodge any of that kind of stuff as much as possible. But what a great event they put on. It was a little different this time. Like the structure and stuff for the queuing and the raffling of the opening ceremony. That stuff was... I tried to play, I was like... I had a great time, but I did not experience it as everybody else did.
Right.
Who definitely had some people studying people's yards and stuff, and the dividing up of the games. But overall, when we got together, Did you not find it weird? I know this is a little strange for maybe the audience, but when we had like the mixers with Blizzard, and then we went to the party that Wowhead and Rated.io put on, and Warcraft logs.
It's a glamorous life, yep.
No cameras. Everyone was just like, I haven't seen you in 4 years. Let's just talk. Let's just see each other. You had like 200 content creators in one room and nobody with a phone out. I was like really impressed that no one was trying to snag some.
There were some event photographers, right? But like no, people weren't live really or anything.
No, people weren't live. People weren't like tagging or anything like that. And that all happened over the course of the event. I saw you twice, I think, just walking in. But it went a little bit pear-shaped because I think you casted the...
Yeah, there was the Guild Clash event, which Echo did compete in and actually win both the PvP and the M+ of as well. So Echo currently the reigning BlizzCon champs from last BlizzCon of everything that was competitive at BlizzCon. So
we didn't get a raid. That was canceled.
That was really sad. So we were gonna do a raid showcase of like some PTR bosses, and it was gonna be cooperative between all the guilds that were there. But we ended up spending too much time on the other stuff, and then by the time I got to raid time, it was already like 7 p.m. The hall was closing. It was like, okay, can't do this. Very sad.
Yeah, the guys told me, I think I saw them at 10 a.m. and they were already like, yeah, they're like 3 hours behind already.
Yeah, it was not good. It was. It turns out that setting up everybody's computers when you have to swap between people on each of the computers every time there was a match swap was not well optimized for. Yeah.
Oh, you think they predicted that?
It was. I mean, I think there were some unprepared players as well that didn't have their like PTR guys built or whatever. But
they went like half an hour to set the UIs up and
stuff.
So
all that ended up taking a little bit longer than budgeted for.
We of course got. Is that Dratty Boom Mic? Nope.
Oh, where's?
Why?
Oh yeah, that's in disguise. That's not me. That could be anybody.
That could be anybody.
That could be anybody there.
I did like filming our little opening skits to this race. It's fun times, although it was very cold.
It was, yeah. The reason I was holding the boom mic there is we realized that the person currently holding the boom mic, one of our production people, needed to be in the shot, right? Because that was for the plot of the little bit. So I offered and got to hold the boom mic there. Although it did, I was also supposed to be in the shot, I guess, as well. But I was having a lot of fun there. I feel like in another lifetime I could have been a good, sound boom mic person.
I think it was a good introduction for Nagura as well. Because when she arrived, it was like, okay, so we got this idea where we kind of like abuse you.
Yeah.
For being a spy. And she was like, cool. Yeah, that's totally fine. And then she paid us off with pastries yesterday.
That's true. Little cake pop things.
She came with boxes of cake.
Very, very, if she thinks that she's going to win me over with such a simple thing as pastries, she is absolutely correct.
Yes.
That is 100%
going to work on me.
Cinnamon roll,
I was so happy.
Yeah, that's,
because I did not get any there's no Cinnabon in LA. Outrageous.
Brutal.
Yeah, absolutely the worst day of my life. I look forward to a Cinnabon because we don't get it at all in the UK. I was like, what a Cinnabon? And it does not exist. But Caro has provided.
The quad view comes out here.
Look how lazy Scripe is with his standing desk.
He's got the Magnus Pro Secret Lab standing desk, I believe. Yeah, I think that's the name of it as well, which he's currently in sitting mode, though. We'll see. I suspect that sitting mode is going to be the preferred mode as long as it's before 8 a.m.
Okay. Guys, audience, are you with me on this? So at BlizzCon, we got told that he was getting the Magnus Pro, the standing desk, right in the middle, and everybody else has the Magnus desks, which I'm using as well, which is awesome. It's got cable management and stuff. Secret Labs, the desks are so good, and we got $100 off the desks on the website. So Secret Lab, obviously one of the sponsors.
Use our link below, by the way.
Massive discounts actually with Secret Lab during this event, guys. If you're looking for a new chair as well, the Titans have got $150 off. Woo! Like, there's a lot of discount going on with Secret Lab.
Does that discount work for casters too?
Yeah. In fact, Krista's buying one.
Really? That's good.
Yeah, Krista's getting one.
Good deal. Actually, are the ones that are here at this event stealable?
I mean, it's going to be hard to put that in your suitcase.
Well,
but
where there's a will.
God bless. God bless.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, you can make some things happen, but
I mean, with that much of a discount, it's basically a steal to just order one.
$150 is good.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good discount. We got some massive, massive discounts with our sponsors this time, and there's some giveaways. I mean, the giveaway thing we're doing later, we'll come to it in a minute, is huge. But I was saying, me and Mira talked to Scribe. I'd be like, why have they given you a standing desk? Because you are never, ever going to use it. And he swears, on the race to World First, he will absolutely use his standing desk all the way through this race. Not like permanently.
Not full on time.
At least once or twice on a daily basis.
Okay, well, we will track that promise, and we will see if that ends up being true or not.
Production, we'll need a replay at some point. Do we have production, do we have automated control of his desk? Can we just raise it up at some point?
We do not, I'm afraid.
We do not.
Well, okay, we have almost as good of a thing where we could send a production person to run over to the desk and press the button on it. So in a sense, that's automated. For us, it's automated.
Yeah.
Because we would just sit here and say that, right?
Do you think he's ever going to use it?
I personally am very scared of Scribe, so I would never do it. But if the production people aren't as scared of him, maybe we could get him to do that. I don't know.
I was really hoping we could set something up that as he turns the desk up, we could get some angelic lights and also get his chair to rise up so he literally rose like a phoenix from the flames above the other raiders, like ascended up into big brain mode. Apparently it's too expensive to employ that.
Yeah, just OSHA said no. Apparently, it's production
Twitch shot, I believe, from watching the Echo team build the studio.
That was a blast. The Echo Esports like 24/7 stream of building this facility was really cool. I will say the production people were, of course, sad to not be at BlizzCon. So while we were at BlizzCon, I was sending them messages like, "Hey, we're at the Raider IO party. Where are you guys?" And I was like, oh, right. Oh, that sucks. You enjoy building the set. Oh, we're at BlizzCon if you didn't. Oh, man. Yeah, anyways, they really hate me. I'm not going back next year.
You deserve to give them some abuse after you were left solo in the middle of a warehouse.
That is true.
Last race for like 3 days.
That is true. You know what? That was a good time.
I imagine you had some fun with it, right?
It was a vibe.
Some bit of content going on. You could do some silly things.
Yeah.
Oh, that is absolute. I would have kind of played into it as well.
Yeah.
I would have actually made a 360 desk, Ron Swanson style.
Yeah.
Get all the old monitors and circle them around myself.
Yeah, get cameras from all the angles as well. Yeah.
You could do a Neo Matrix thing. You could snapshot yourself spinning around to do all. You could do all sorts of cool content like that.
That would be good. Look, if this race ends in a couple days, there's a good chance that would happen again here.
Fingers crossed that does not happen. And what we saw from Farak yesterday, that's hopefully not going to happen. No kill on the heroic side yet. When are you expecting those teams to stop raid, Drat?
I haven't seen those pull counts increment from any of the guilds. I suspect even if they're in the middle of their raid nights, they've maybe advanced to doing other stuff, right? A second heroic split, a third heroic split, normal splits, break for Mythic Plus. LFR splits, something that I think we may see some guilds get into this tier because there is, so for those who don't know, this tier, LFR Wing 1 is out week 1, which normally was out week 2, I think. And also, it features two tier bosses, which it never has done before. That is wild. So might be something we'll see. I suspect we'll even see Echo go into LFR at least to some extent during this week because there will be somebody who needs a 4-piece, and that'll be the only way left to do it.
I don't know if you've noticed, Drat. Mirez is catching up.
Wow, of course.
Yeah, if we go between Roger and Mirez's POV, obviously they're pulling 9.
Interesting. All right.
Production's doing something. We can't change POV for a minute.
This is one of the they were testing something, and us calling out and asking for something from them was really inted them on sneakily testing whatever they were trying to test.
Yeah, but
which I love doing.
Mirez and Roger and Velo's group are both on Guardians of the Dream right now. They have caught right up, and I'm trying to see the HP bars, and I think.
All right, we've got Mirez now.
Mirez has got the
30%. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got the bear to like 3. Can we just go to Velo POV real quick? They're really close.
So yeah, Mirez is potentially going to be able to overtake Velo's group here. Of course, there are I think 2 groups that are on Nimui or whatever that boss is supposed to be pronounced as. Naimu. Yeah, that boss is the next one that's up after this one. So after that boss goes down, we're gonna have Smolderon, then we're gonna have T-Swift, and then we're gonna have Farak. So 3 more bosses after that one, and then we'll be done with normal splits. And normal splits, of course, they began at pretty much at 5 sharp, where we can kind of count. That's when they started. So if they can get, 6 o'clock, if we can be done, 6:20,
we've got
6:10,
14 minutes-ish.
That would be pretty good. That would be pretty impressive if they were able to make that happen. How many splits are they going to try and get done today is going to be the question per character, per player.
4 runs per hour.
4 runs per hour. Yeah, okay. I guess if you're counting them being in parallel. I was kind of thinking of it in per character terms of like how many runs they were going to try and get, or sorry, per player, right? Yep. Which the players have like 10 or 12 characters, something like that, I believe, prepared. So that would still be, I guess a full day, but if they could get 48 splits done or whatever total across all of that and have those characters each be getting giga funneled, that would be so powerful.
But they do have, I think Mira said 30-something characters prepared for this race.
Across
all the players.
That seems low to me, right? Because
I think they've been a bit more focused because with the raid buff situation, you kind of have so many spots.
Maybe it's like 130 characters that are ready to be mains because if they've got what, like 30 raiders ish.
Yep.
So 130 characters would only be 5 per, right?
Yeah, so you've got some standouts. There's some characters, some players who are definitely going on certain ones, and I think that's prepared to be part of the Mythic race.
Okay, yeah, that
so
makes
like
sense.
Gingy,
and then they all have
probably
like
going to be made
10 extra, or 5 extra like characters that are alts that will help with splits, but that are definitely not going to be coming in for.
We're not likely
Grog.
to see Gingy Hunter,
right? Well, not unless you're looking at the top of the damage meters or something. Yeah.
Unless they go, okay, we can't ignore the power of BM.
I feel like the thing is, dude, Serve is also low-key kind of pumping this tier, although I think BM is looking kind of unstoppable, yeah?
You're always bringing up the Year of the Spear, but we have seen it. It happened.
Yeah, Year of the Spear. It happened in Sepulchre,
and
this tier, they have a really, really good set bonus, too, so I don't know. It could. I'm just saying, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a little survival on Mythic progression on at least one of these bosses.
For sure. And while the rat's ready to pull, production, can we check that giveaway? I did mention it earlier, but it's something that's ongoing throughout the event. A massive Echo giveaway package. Exclam giveaway in the chat, yo, to be a part of it and get some more details on how you're giving it. But we're giving away like Secret Lab Titan chair, I believe. We're giving away the Starforge PC. There you can go. A bunch of Elgato stuff. Obviously, the Echo merch, disc plates, and that hoodie, by the way, that I was wearing yesterday, that white hoodie. That is the Elgato hoodie, which I received tweets about. I was like, where can I buy this hoodie? Is going to be a part of that deal as well. So that is all in there. So Exclam giveaway squad. To get yourselves involved and win some goodies.
Yeah, some pretty good disc plates in there as well. I'm always trying to pick up some new disc plates after each of these races. Always some good ones. I still have the Halandris one. That's like that's my favorite one.
Yeah,
but I got a bunch of them now.
I actually regretted not taking a disc plate to BlizzCon. I should have done that.
To get some signatures on it?
Yeah, just left it out at like the parties and stuff and to get people to...
That would have been really good tech.
Yeah, that would have been smart.
Now that you mentioned that, I will definitely do that next year.
Yeah, I thought about it while I was... in fact, what happened is somebody brought me one of our displays that we make. You can check Breach Gaming on display, and obviously that we have the biggest discount ever, by the way, for display right now.
Yeah, we as Echo, right?
As Echo, as Echo, we have 44% off, up to 44% off on the displays right now. That include obviously the really cool Echo ones, including the new signed ones. So if you want the guy's signatures, production won't mind. Well, I've got a little one.
Oh, there's somewhere. Yeah, I can pull this off the wall as well.
Let's just rip it off the wall.
That's one of the strengths of display.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first stream of the first morning. Production won't mind.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. All right, nice. Yeah. We've got it. Here it is.
It's got all the players' signatures on it. And it's all been done. Obviously, they're printed. They're not hand-signed. These are printed onto the display. But you have...
They feel hand-signed, though.
Someone called Sinestra. Don't know who that is. That's made up.
Ignore that one. Yeah.
Rasmus, never heard of him. Probably useless. Grim, I think that's that guy who's asleep outside all the time.
He's got the little hidey hole where nobody can see him over inside.
These are the production team who are obviously providing all this. In fact, preheat using the camera right now to zoom in on this. He's trying to focus on it. Am I helping, Mitch? Okay.
And then, just keep changing how far away it is from the camera. They love it
when
you do
Mitch?
that. He's doing a really good job, actually, of keeping that in focus. That's impressive.
We've got Gingy, Mirez, Ryson, Scripe, Roger B, Tobo, Viking Frago, Noggy's on here, Vu's on here, Clicks, Daisy's even on here. She puts a little love heart on it. Such a weeb. Full weeb.
You can definitely tell she plays Final Fantasy from the signature,
and Zalia is on here as well. So this is the production team stuff. None of the casters, we got benched.
Yeah, what the heck? What's going on here? This is kind of messed up, I think.
Apparently, we're not worth it.
Well, here's my promise to you. If you... What?
So, did we start Anarchy now, Dra?
Okay, if you purchase one of these disc plates, though, and you're ever at an event or something where I am, or if you ever find me, I will sign your copy of this and add my signature
I will
to
do
this.
the same as well.
So
I will sign anything
that's a solemn promise for this disc plate in particular, and honestly for any disc plate. I'll sign those. It's always been one of my favorite things for these events. We've had like these tables with the event displayed out and just all taken turns signing all of them.
I take credit for that. I started that.
That's good tech, yeah.
Yeah, the Halandris was the one.
Yeah.
In fact, you can see it during the Sepulchre highlights. The minute the race finishes, I knew players were going to start flying out and stuff because we've been there for 3 weeks. And the Halandris display was so good that I was like, I'm going to get it signed by everybody. So I walked around, and you could see me while Scripe's like decompressing. I'm in the back with beer, talking to Logok, and I'm getting the disc plate signed. And then I showed it off, and then the next time we came back, they provided disc plates for us all to get signed. But they are, unironically, at BlizzCon, so many people brought me a disc plate to sign, and they were just walking around, because you then stick these to your wall, and it's not only a good piece of art, but you do have all these signatures from memories and stuff of events you do. So I fully endorse using them for that purpose. So something you might want to do.
Yeah, that's good. One of the features of the disc plate is they work like however you like. You can stick them on the wall just like that. Earlier, oh, production are not happy with us. Oh no!
It's day one, man. Like, well, up to 44% off with Echo RWF.
Highest discount in the world. Yeah, pretty cool. I will probably make use of that. I got a bunch of disc plates, but I need some new ones.
God.
All right.
So needy.
There we go. Beautifully done. Production's threatening to sing at us in the microphone until we fix it. Which
I'm eyeballing it. Are we good?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
That's the thing about displays. You can just eyeball them. They look good.
I eyeballed it. I think it's straight.
Yeah.
It's good.
Good enough.
It's fine.
Which, that's my motto, you know?
Bare minimum.
Bare minimum, yep.
I do want to check. Is Mirez caught up? Where's he up to? The boss has just died.
That's previous. Okay, so they're about to pull Smolderon is Team Mirez. Meanwhile, we have Team Velo that has Smolderon at 90%.
Oh, Mirez, get it together, son.
Yeah, Mirez, this is the fight, I believe, for 3rd and 4th place among the Echo splits right now. So Mirez is going to have to accelerate, but they still haven't pulled the boss, it looks like. Meanwhile, I don't see anybody with Smolderon dead yet, at least, so Mirez has definitely done a really good job of catching up. I mean, I think when they were pulling Gnarl Root, Igira was already being pulled by other splits.
Oh, yeah, they caught up by a full boss.
Yeah, they're doing a really, really good job there, and I think that, you know, if you're going to have a split start last and you want it to catch up, you want to make that the Mirez split for sure.
Can we cut to Kush real quick?
All right, we can take a look over maybe at Kush on the Demon Hunter still, I believe, as well.
He is. They just defeated Smolderon, and they can see that Gingy has once again absolutely dominated the DPS.
Yeah, even in this split, right? We got those BM Hunters at the top. That's that spec is looking rather good.
They have 4 BM Hunters.
Rather good. Yeah. Are those even all Echo Raiders, or are some of those just just helpers, just blasting on the meters?
Yeah, they're helpers, I think.
I think you might be right. Yeah,
yep.
Just whew. You know, come carry Echo on your BM Hunters. That's what we need.
Dude, we are raising money for Rise Above the Disorder. Massive
wow.
charity.
The number just went up by a lot. Let me see if I can find the Tiltify thing.
If this isn't a comedy message, I want to reiterate, it's not even 6 a.m. here. I want comedy messages, and we want the sussy unlocked.
Does anybody know how to turn on the iPad? I figured it out.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, that's me.
Do you remember the password? Your
Face
ID will not work.
Wow, you got to try. You never know. I think it's it's very secure.
I would love some comedy messages. We have been up since 3 a.m. to get here and get this started, as well as you guys who are in all these split runs. 4 split runs being run by Echo right now. But we are, of course, about to cross the $200,000 raised across our events for Rise Above the Disorder. And if you don't know who they are, those are guys who started as a WoW guild and then went on to provide mental health care. And we all struggled during the pandemic with staying in and getting back out into the world and all that kind of stuff. And Rise Above the Disorder is providing mental health care, certainly for people who can't afford it, across the world. It's not just US-based or it's not just EU-based. It's none of that. They are global. We've had them on the show previously. And we are up to probably $177,000 raised across all our events. And this race, we would love to cross that $200,000 mark. We have tons of really fun incentives for you. Fun things that the casters will do. Fun things that the players will get involved in. And our first one, of course, is to unjail the touchdown and play the song of our people that has awakened all of the raiders and the viewers to the Echo broadcast at $5,000. But what I want is some Bant's comments, because that's what I love more than anything.
Well, we did have, 18 minutes ago, we had $5 come in from Splits Enjoyeur.
Splits Enjoyeur.
Good name.
Is it French, though? Has it got Enjoyeur?
No, it's not like EU or something. It's 4 O's. Enjoy, O-O-O-O-R. Splits Enjoyeur. And
I
enjoy
hate
your.
I will put good money on who donated that $1,000. And
yeah, so that's the other thing that I buried the lead a little bit there. 2 minutes ago, we had $1,000 coming from Anonymous that with the comment, Rat Jam.
I bet I know
Rat
who
Jam
it
indeed.
is. And next time we go for dinner, you will confirm if it is you who did that.
If it wasn't, then somebody's very confused out there right now
They're
watching.
not confused. I almost guarantee it. The rat is back, and I can't seem to escape it no matter what game I'm in. In fact, I believe production actually saw some rats on the streets this morning as they were.
Oh,
yeah, they got actually rat jammed this morning. They got full rat jammed on the way in. Although we saw hares.
Hares, very cool.
I saw 7 hares this morning. I walked through the woods to get here, so I'm doing like
walk through the woods?
Yeah, I do like a Slenderman thing. I'm hoping to terrify some Swedes.
Okay.
That's kind of my goal if I've got to walk here at that time of the day. But it was actually just full of beautiful hares.
I've just been walking basically to the roundabout that led to our old venue, and then walking back the same way I walked back from the last venue.
I go straight through the woods.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I was kind of scared of those woods. I'm not going to lie. I was worried there was a Slenderman in there, so
And it's me!
I would have been right, man.
Hello.
Could you imagine if I started walking through there at the same time? Like I'm walking home at the same time you're walking here? It might happen one of these days. It's pretty likely.
It's just like, can't be as scary as me seeing Just Wait at the end of a long corridor with a drill in his hand is what I saw.
Ooh.
Yeah, it looked like The Shining.
That's really good.
It was horrifying.
Yeah.
I turned I hadn't seen Just Wait here. He has got COVID, so he was on ultimate lockdown. So I turned this very long corridors in our hotel. And as I turned, Just Wait was at the end with a drill in his hand, and he just went, "Don't come near me." And I was like, "Has he got a mental breakdown or something? What's happened here?" And he's like, "No, I'm on lockdown. I'm on a quarantine." I was like, "So why are you in the corridor?" It's like, "I had to drill." He's drilling his monitor arms to the desks in the hotel room where they're playing from, along with Tobo, who unfortunately, although he has tested negative, I believe. So we might be seeing Tobo back in the studio very soon. We hope so. Comes all the way to Sweden and sits in the hotel.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. So we might, obviously going to give it a day or so and see if that continues to be the trend, but we will hopefully be seeing our boy Tobo back in studio soon to represent the bench.
That was unfortunate last year for him being on the bench. I think he'll be pretty excited to have another opportunity maybe to be in on the main roster this time around. Of course, in a guild like Echo, somebody's always got to be on the bench, and in this guild, you can't even feel that bad about it, right? Because it's not like you're...
No.
You're just like, okay, I'm being benched for, Gingy or Kush or somebody, right? Like, of course,
Well, we had Gingy benched during the jailer, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it happens to everybody.
The level
just question
of
his spec and gear, and it happens, right? The Echo aspires to be a roster where it's whoever is playing the best spec and gets the luckiest with gear is in, and that's always good, right? And whoever is on the bench is equally capable and just happens to be, ready for a different meta or getting worse gear. Or just, unlucky that tier. It happens.
I mean, I'd like that to be true, but honestly, anybody who's not in the main raid is generally a shitter.
Ah, I see.
That's what Scribe tells me.
That's true. He does, of course. He does those post-raid, raider reviews, right? And that's, I think, the TLDR of those, yeah.
As we're seeing T-Swift getting attacked, and Velo's group is also working on this. Where's Miraz up to? He's there. Yeah, Miraz is here too.
Yeah, caught up. Miraz, chasing after old T-Swift there. This is the first intermission, I believe. We have some people on that last platform already, so still a couple of minutes behind here, but I believe a 10-minute or so head start has turned into a 2 or 3 minute one, which, that's kind of, on a small scale, what Echo are hoping to do over the next couple of days.
It's what's cool, and what is always awesome to see is as soon as this comes out, how quickly the next... Because I almost guarantee, and maybe production can continue. Are they already building the next 4
I'm sure
groups?
they are. Yeah, I'm sure they have the next splits with people like Scripe perhaps having those groups being built, right? Building those groups through the group finder, and then as soon as one of these runs gets done, people log out, log into their new people, get invited to that group, and they are going and they are on Gnarl route again, and they'll do that for 2 or 3 splits before they take a break.
Mm-hmm. And they'll be continuing to make sure that ideally what they want is the raiders to walk out of the raid and immediately into another group and get going. But we're up there. Farak is coming.
There it is.
And we're going to see that epic cutscene again. Family.
Beautiful. Just some of the best writing I've seen in World of Warcraft.
I was actually saying, and this is obviously, I don't know if Blizz is watching, and I'm not trying to be mean, but after you've just announced the World Soul Saga and how story focused and we're going down this almost FF style to get you immersed. New faces are showing up. You see my interview with Ian is now public. We are having new faces. The story team is working on it. And then we got a kind of lame cutscene. I was like, that's not good. Why does this look like a vagina? I mean, this is so intentional, right? You've seen one, right?
No comment. No comment.
And it was like, that's not kind of what we want after the big BlizzCon hype of the World Soul Saga. It's like something a little bit more enticing to lead us in there. I do think it is setting up for World Soul Saga stuff. You know, we've been granted this power by Azeroth.
I get the feeling with both the story and the pacing of the raids, there sort of has been this... I feel like the end of Dragonflight was sort of the victim of the World Soul Saga existing, right? Like, you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet, right?
I don't think so. Ian specifically
so.
said they don't do that anymore, but because he said they focus. What was his wording? They focused on such a high cadence of content for Legion that BFA suffered.
Right.
So they learned then they can't do that. Right. It's not worth doing one thing good if the next thing's going to suffer. Maybe this was just the ending that was planned. I mean, it feels like a bit of a teaser for World Soul. Or this is not the final cutscene and Mythic will have a different cutscene.
That is always a possibility.
Yes.
And there have been Mythics that have been canonically different and the actual real canon. I think a good example of that was Gul'dan.
And Archimonde.
Yeah, Illidan coming out of the sky was something that only happened on Mythic difficulty, right? And fighting the shade of Illidan or whatever. That's I think the canon of what happened on that fight. So...
Yep, I do believe so.
Could be, or of course, Cho'Gall, end of Imperator Margok. A lot of.
God, I would love for a moment like that.
That would be pretty cool.
I want a Mythic only phase on Farak. This fight is so set up to have something Mythic only happen in it, and it's. God, if they could bring something in that like that, would be so good.
I do think it's possible, although the Dungeon Journal to me. It reads like a kind of Sarkareth-style complete fight, even on Mythic. Although I'm sure there will be some twists thrown at us on that difficulty once we get there. But
yeah, we do base that on usually the last boss of the expansion does have.
It does have something extra usually. Yeah, like Jailer had P4, but P4 Jailer was kind of okay, we have to do something. Let's staple something on, right?
It wasn't Azoth.
And even Azoth, I think, was something that compared to, Archimonde or whatever, was also a step down from that, so...
One of my dreams that I would love to see, because the Race to World First is watched by so many players now. It's not like it was back in the day where only a few got to see it, or be a part of it, or live even a little vicariously through it, including ourselves, is for there to be another boss.
Oh, yeah, like a Raden.
Like a Raden or a Sinestra just appears again. We defeat Farak, we're all cheering, and then the floor collapses or something like that. Like, what the hell?
Cool.
I mean, that would be just so epic.
If Blizzard are able, in this day and age of data mining, if they were able to get something like that through the data miners as well, with no, I haven't heard any rumblings of anything like that.
No, they keep it very under wraps.
It would be so cool if they could do that. I don't think it's likely, but that's part of what would make it so cool, right?
Yeah,
it would be such a surprise.
I mean, their encryption technology,
they do have the tech.
Yeah, I mean, Ian was quite open about this. It's like, look, data mining is a part of World of Warcraft. We're not going to get rid of it. So the solution is for us to get better at encrypting it so they can't see what it is. And they have kept the phases hidden. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes at the Race to World First to try and figure out if there's more to come and things like that. And with Sarkareth, it was like, okay, there's a file that's really, really big. And it's not unlocked yet. Because the way this stuff works, if you don't know, is when that phase gets hit, that's when it actually unencrypts for everybody. But it's not until that phase. So, like, in the Zoth extra room and stuff, there's a file, don't know what it does, but when Liquid hit that, or Limits as it was at the time, hit that, then all that data unencrypts. And it's like, oh, there it is. And now everybody can see it about what it is. So they are good at encryption, so it's possible there's a lot of sneaky things. Or hopefully this time around, like we had with Jailer, they won't hotfix the spell we've not seen yet just before the kill get there. That Divergent Life Shield. Yeah. It's like, we have hotfixed Divergent Life Shield. Like, what the hell is Divergent Life Shield?
Hang on.
Yeah, oops. This is making that public. But little things like that do give it away. But they have got better with their encryption to hide various things. The full boss is tough, though, because I think even the data miners can get through the map.
Yeah, there's so much they'd have to hide for that to be successfully done. But if they put their minds to it, there's nothing they can't do. So that would be really cool.
That would be dope. That would be pretty incredible. Who it would be, I don't know. But like I say, Cho'Gall coming out was always a great moment to have.
Imagine if it was just Cho'Gall again now.
Just constantly running around.
Just Cho'Gall pops out. That would be good. That would be really good.
We haven't focused much on the boss here, but this is, of course, Farak. Our first glimpse. We haven't seen it on Heroic yet. But this fight is, I tell you what, Dratnos, everything's so clear.
It looks so good as well, yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's, you know, the thing is, it looks good. Because it's normal mode, there's not a lot of stuff going on at once, right? Once this gets to Heroic and Mythic, I suspect that the screen is going to be a lot more cluttered just because there's going to be so much more mechanics happening.
But in general, like, not the purple on purple that we have with Sakura.
Yes, the color scheme, I think, you know, the Shadow Flame on the green and blue is really nice aesthetic that also preserves visual clarity, and that's, I think, a combo that we're really happy to see.
Totally. Absolutely love it. I tell you what, I really like the little animation of when he lands in Dragon Form, where he, like, he doesn't hard stop. He has to, like, correct his speed because he's coming in so hard. That kind of, and the bassiness, we could hear it when we were listening to the audio of the players yesterday. There's a general rumble to give weight to the character, right? Because it can feel very floaty in World of Warcraft sometimes with the animation. You remember the jailer ice skating across the floor and stuff?
Yeah.
But they've really worked hard with Farak and his Dragon Form to give him that weight and presence of when he's landing. Like, those kind of things just add to it so they don't look silly when you're fighting these bosses. Also, why they kind of, I think, moved away from giant bosses, because if you remember, Farak in Zeralek Cavern was monstrous.
Big dragon, yeah. And even Razagath, I think, a bigger model than Farak here. But well, maybe similar size. Maybe this is similar size to Razagath, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe a little smaller, I'm not sure.
I think it's a smidgy bit smaller.
Yeah, we could do it. That'd be a cool thing to see. It'd be a size comparison, because either way, it's on a similar scale, right? Yep. Farak is big enough that it feels big, but it's not just engulfing the entire platform, right?
And you can see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Remember, if you were in melee with Razagath, the breath, you like watching his toe direction.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because his wings could envelop the entire screen. And obviously, Farak's wings just come slightly outside his hitbox. Not too bad at all to figure out where you're going. And again, these tornadoes, nice red and purple on a green and beige floor. Easy enough to see. We know Tina, who's one of the heads of making this stuff, and actually went back and did all the stuff for the classic team as well, I believe, because the hitboxes were so wonky back in the day. It's like, we can't do that with the graphical animation. It's got to be just right these days. And really working on that, because it was very messy in the early days of StarCraft to see what was happening for the players. But here it's crystal.
Yeah, this is really good. And StarCraft did need several hotfixes to, like, change colors of mechanics. I doubt that will be necessary for Farak. I think this is going to be a very understandable fight visually, and when you die to stuff, it's going to be because of the mechanics and not because you couldn't see them, which is a really good place to be. Does look like Farak's about to go down here for the old Gingy split, though. I believe this is going to be our first split completing of the day. That is
11.
time on,
Hour 11.
1 hour and 11 minutes, which, again, for the very first one, that was servers had to come up. They had to get everybody online, get everybody awake and stuff for it. That, I suspect they'll be able to be faster for the next one. So very, very well done by Team Echo, one of Team Echo's splits. I don't know which of the letters that was.
So we've got Velo's group has Farak. Oh, got that 50% mark. That's where they're going. Where's Team Mirez at?
Team Mirez appear to be actually pretty close as well.
We've got a race.
They are doing really well
here. Farak is lower for Team Mirez.
And then where's the do we have the fourth split? I guess the only other one we haven't seen here is Clicks in that one. Yeah, maybe.
50. Oh, that's the Hearts.
Yeah, okay. That's
56% Farak there, looks like. Mirez is going to win second.
39. I'm not sure. Either way, we'll see. Man, they got to make sure they heal these elves. Of course, if that Heart of Amirdrassil reaches 0, that would be very bad for them. You got to heal those spirits of the Kaldori as they walk towards it. You got to heal them all the way up to full, and then they'll transfer their life force when they land there. So you can see those spirits. Clicks actually has their health bars above them, which is nice, getting them nice and healed up. So that they'll be able to reach that door and heal the heart back up.
Not great with those sort of ads that need healing. You know, in the way they interact with the UI. Not always great. He's generally been the strategy.
I actually saw some pings going out in one of the earlier splits of like, I'm going to heal this one, ping this, and a ping on it. Which
the ping tool.
That's going to help, I think, with this, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's the ping tool coming in clutch. But with 29 now for Mirez.
Yeah.
I would like him to
that would be an impressive second place, you know. Normally not something Echo's happy about, but would be something Mirez would be happy about in this particular instance.
It certainly would. Gingy is still distributing loot before this. Same with Kush. Obviously, they're in the same group. Are figuring it out. And yeah, I think Mirez might claim it here. 23, 22. Can we go back to Clicks?
At 22% for Mirez. This would be a funny point to discover they were actually in the same split. Nope, they're not. They're just really close in
25 for Clicks' group.
Yeah, Clicks opens the appearances. Got to check what the Mog's going to be. Always important. Stay stylish while raiding.
The worst thing I ever saw happen is a Shah of World First. If you go back and watch that, Perfecto dies, gets rezzed, opens his bags, and puts on a deviant fish. Like,
ooh,
it's the world
Love
first
it.
kill. He opens his bag, augment rune, deviant fish. I'm a pirate again.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is priority. I am not getting the world first, not as a pirate. It's important.
Gotta stay stylish. Gotta stay stylish at all times.
Yeah, be fresh to death every single time as they get ready to bring it home in Clicks' group at 14%. Where's Miraz at? Oh, Miraz is taking the second place.
5%. Yep. Looking good. And now we'll be able to actually confirm for realsies that there are indeed 4 splits going, because we should be able to see 4 different Farrakh deaths coming in here if that is indeed the case, which a lot of players dead here for the Miraz split. Things are getting a little bit hairy at the end of Farrakh.
Yeah, Miraz cool as a cucumber, as that 1%. He's been here before. He knows
this is fine. We're chill. As long as Amirdrassil is safe, the rest of the raid can get low. And yep, there it is. Okay, there's kill number 2 coming in.
There's we just claimed it. Clicks at 1%.
Gonna get the third one.
And yes, if we have another,
and then we have
Farrakh
one more. Yep, this is the Velo split. It is also getting very low here.
Avelo started, I believe, a group in second place. There's a lot of death, though.
Yeah,
they got 5% to go.
They're okay. They're fine. This is fine. They will be able to do this. Where's Yeah, they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah, Wolf Disco is like hard carrying here. See Penguin Disco doing the Warlock things, which is not dying and producing #1 DPS.
That's pretty good. You know, ahead of those BM Hunters, that's always a good place to be. You're always happy about that. This tier, I think if you can beat BM Hunters this tier, you got to be feeling pretty good about your damage.
Ironically, most of them are dead and still like
still seconds. Yeah,
the BM Hunters died in phase 1.
still doing it. Absolutely. There it is. Though split number 4 gets completed there, and that is
15.
Yeah, so a 4-minute differential between first and fourth place among the splits, but still very good. I think they've got to be very happy with getting 4 splits completed within 75 minutes, right? Like that is a wild pace. If they're able to maintain this throughout the day, they could get 10 splits done in 750 minutes, which is put in some time for breaks and stuff. They could get all that done today. It could be doable.
I think so too. This is what it's all about efficiency. You can see the groups are already up there, and if you are near you and you want to help out Echo, more of you are out of bed at this point. 6:15 it is over here, European time. Come and help the guys out. Get your achievement. Get everything you need to do to make your life easier over the next few months, and support the Echo squad as this Race to World First is ramping up as much as it possibly can. And these guys, as you can see, are working their socks off to get these splits done and out of the way as fast as possible. With a lovely $150 donation. Family. It's the only comment there from Mr. Say's Copper Mine. But Magetsu with $10. Hey, Mike, it's me, the Rat. 777777777 gift touchdown, and at $5,000, guys, we are going to smash. I think production's going to blast the touchdown, and we can get sussy. We're going to go hard is the message.
You will not want to. See, turning this one on and off is hard. Where's the button? You can't find it, can you? There it is. All right, you found it, but it took a while.
It does.
It's not in the same spot as them. They
I
usually
have the same
are.
one, but it has a case, and there's a very noticeable area where the off button is.
Oh, I
I've
see.
never had to correct.
Yeah, it's pretty flush with the edges of this. Yeah.
Can we get the? I kind of. This is gross, but the level of fingerprint damage that has been done to this screen.
All right, you want a little wiping happening?
You went straight for your shirt.
Yeah, that's how you wipe. That's how you wipe these things.
We've got literally cloths right here.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, guess my shirt's not good enough for you. Okay, that's fine.
It's good enough for you.
No, that's
it's
fine.
Good enough for me.
That's fine.
I just don't want
That's
it.
whatever. I'm over it.
Do you any idea why we've got these reject chairs on the side of the couch? Is this if we're naughty?
Well, this was where you sat when I stole your spot earlier yesterday. That was brought over here for that reason. Yeah.
Well, it was just nice for you to show up, honestly.
Yeah, I was debating it. I decided to in the end. It was. It was close.
50.
That was really comfy. I don't know what to tell you.
I do want to point out that as we were sitting down to begin the show yesterday, we're all here, we're all excited. Dratnos texts us and goes, "Anybody can give me a lift?" We're like, "We're on the couch, we're doing our job. I need a lift."
I was just wondering. It was a nice walk. It was a nice walk. I liked it. We've got a good walk from the hotel to here.
25 minutes.
Yeah. Ooh, if you're chugging along, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 25 minutes. But I love that walk.
Yeah.
If it wasn't so cold, it's freezing.
It's a good walk. Wakes you up in the evening, puts you to bed in the morning. That's exactly what I need.
Yeah. I try and walk it as much as possible because Echo kindly provided us rental cars. to divide amongst the team. But
Yep.
I said no because I get here early and I like the walk as well. I don't want it. And I drive on the left.
Oh, yeah. That's
But none of you guys can drive manual transmissions.
That's true. Yeah,
The Americans all flummoxed, and you had to push a car.
That's true. This is real lore. Me and Jeeth were driving over here like 2 days ago, and could not figure out how to reverse the car. So I had to get out and just push the car backwards so it was far enough away from the wall that we could just turn it out. But it was really well. I'm glad you asked. No, because I'm glad you asked. That's a good question. It's a good question. Why didn't you Google it? Well, we were in the parking structure of the hotel where there is no Wi-Fi, and as Americans, our options are Wi-Fi or no internet. Right? We don't just have internet where there's cell signal.
Why?
Yeah. Well, because our phones don't have it. It's not.
You can get that.
Yeah, but I don't. I don't have it.
Extraordinarily cheap.
Yeah, but I'd have to go to the store and get my SIM card changed or something. No, I would have to.
And you tell your cell company, I'm going to Europe, but it's like $10.
I know, like mine's bugged or something. Like I get a text that says
okay.
like, hey, welcome to Sweden. Do you want to do this? And I've tried to get it, but like I have to go and get my SIM card changed or something about it. I don't know. Anyways, we didn't have internet for that reason.
Okay.
And so I had to just push the car back. He put it in neutral, and I with one mighty shove, it's not that impressive because it's a European car. Those things weigh like 20 pounds.
Yep.
But push it off the wall and out into the middle of the parking structure is pretty cool.
Yeah, we are not the compensators for our cars. we do.
If anybody from the rental
6
car,
tons of steel between my legs to feel good. That's not what I need. Just chugging along, rolling coal.
Yeah, that's look. All I'm saying is, if there was a nice little F-150 with an automatic transmission around here, the Americans would be able to get anywhere we needed to. And, you might be like, oh, the parking spaces aren't big enough for your cars. Well, we could move the other cars with our big car out of the parking spaces.
I don't think you'd even fit on the roads.
Yeah, well,
our roads are not designed for that kind of width.
It doesn't matter. The cars, the roads will adapt to us. If your car is powerful enough,
America.
Yeah.
The roads will change.
Get out of the way, right? It's my way or the highway.
Absolutely. As you can see, Scribe here, the master plan, quad view.
Wow.
Watching all the splits simultaneously and leading them all at once.
I thought this was our quad view earlier. This is Scripe's literal POV. He is watching all 4 splits like this. That's why his camera is so much bigger. I thought
Can we put him in the middle for his camera? Can we do that? I don't think we have control over his camera.
I suspect that's one of those requests where you say it in production and get really mad because it's like, that would be really annoying for us to do. Yeah, they'd have to bother him to do that apparently. So
because I just feel like we should just have his brain in the middle as he's coordinating all of these splits. As we are already underway.
Yeah, there it is.
That's it. This is how quick they're getting these splits. Where is Jinju right now?
And this is actually, are they deciding to start not in
They're skipping.
Yeah, this is gonna. They're starting the split off right at Laradar. So the first splits, of course, nobody had any lockouts. They just had to go straight all the way through. This split, on the other hand, it looks like it's beginning right at Laradar, and I think Liquid were doing some of this as well, from what I could see yesterday too for them. So
which one's the tier? Is it the?
So tier drops off of Igira, Laradar, T-Swift.
Interesting mix.
Yeah, it's like Igira, Smolderon, T-Swift, Laradar, Nimue, or whatever. So bosses, the second boss weirdly, and then not the first boss of each wing, but then the end boss of each wing, and then the 2 bosses before Farak. Farak drops the Omni token, so also is a tier boss effectively. Yeah.
Sure. So let's listen in with some comms, guys, and we'll take 2 minutes, get a nice beverage to refresh
Oh, wow.
our throats.
Hot chalky for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and we'll see if they have exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes to keep pace. So we'll see if they're going to keep up with this. And again, a massive shout out to all you guys who are helping out with these splits. They're going as fast as humanly possible. So keep your eyes open because the next groups, probably in about 20 minutes, will start being made for the next runs. So don't worry if you want to get in there and help out the Echo guys.
Yeah.
If you would keep me waiting, I would wait a lifetime. In tricky situations, I will be a lifeline. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the moves, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the hoops, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. Ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the moves, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the hoops, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. And the world is going wild when they come for you. And the river's running dry when it all falls through. Don't you worry about a thing, baby, I got you. Yeah, baby, I got you.
Just keep the legs over.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sweden, where the race to world first is heating up and Dratnos is rumbling.
Oh, yeah?
Unironically, during his downtime, he's getting his rumble. And what are you farming? Is it your dailies?
I'm doing a quest. Yeah, my daily, actually. This is going to be really big for me. I don't know.
This is
There's
big
no
for
way
me.
you're going to be able to see, but we did it. We did it.
We did it. Victory. I can confirm victory has happened for Dratnos, who's rumbling. You're aiming for like the world first.
That's me. No, I'm not going for. I'm a humble, rumble enjoyer.
A humble rumble enjoyer.
Ooh, now I get to pick my rewards as well. This is the best part. Hang on.
What are you
I'll be able to cast with you in just a moment here.
That's fine. I mean, I don't mind. You do you. You know what I mean? I don't want to distract you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I can play anytime, anywhere.
In fact, all the casters seem to be engrossed. The rumbling. Every time I turn a corner, every time we stop for even pause in a meeting, the rumble comes out immediately, and everyone just throws down rumbles.
We had a caster meeting here yesterday, and I was reclined in that chair over there, just
rumbling away while production is trying to lay it down.
Yeah, I did not hear a single thing that was said to me from that meeting. I hope there was nothing important.
But you claimed some good units, though, so that's what matters.
That's true. That's what matters.
Yeah, it does. As the splits are underway, 4 splits at a time is what Echo is doing in normal mode. We do expect that to probably down to 3, maybe even 2 for heroic. To see exactly how difficult that is, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen there, the heroic Farak has not died.
Yeah.
Yes, heroic Farak still lives, which is not uncommon, not unusual. It doesn't really give us a scale of how difficult Farak might be. As you can see, BDG had like 3 pulls, Instant Dollars had 7. Just a quick look, but usually the last boss in heroic is pretty tough. And guilds tend to leave it until they finish with all their alt shenanigans and mass gearing up, and then maybe even come in with a lot more power. Maybe to throw down some Mythic Plus, which I know you've been doing all night. How's the Mythic Plus looking?
Pretty good, pretty fun, I would say, challenging but not unfair. Couple of pretty hard dungeons out there, pretty nasty pulls. Again, if you're ever doing like Dawn of the Infinite, anytime you're fighting any dragon mini boss, that's a panic and bloodlust moment, and use all your cooldowns. Those things are. Every single dragon that's trash in that dungeon is just horrifyingly scary.
I haven't done Dawn of the Infinite on Mythic Plus though. Have they tuned it? Is it good?
It's pretty fun. Yeah, I would say I feel like lower is a bit easier than upper. So that's Galakron's Fall, easier than Murzan's Rise, which you can remember which one's lower and which one's upper because Rise up and Fall down. That's the remember if you get the keystone there. That's what.
Do you often get confused with these things?
Well, I've been helping in addition to morale. I'm in charge of mnemonics for my guild.
God, you wear so many hats.
That's true. Yeah,
I've never seen someone so multi-talented as you. You're a rumbler. You're a morale officer.
Yep, in charge of mnemonics as well. It's the secret is anytime you see something and it's like, oh, there's nobody whose job that is, and it seems easy, right? Like in charge of splits, no way, I'm not doing that. That's actual work, right?
Yeah, that requires coordination.
Morale, mnemonics, right? You just do some silly little goofy guy moments, and that's all you got to do for.
Are you HR as well?
I don't think so. No, I guess it's kind of all of us.
I mean, you would have thought as morale officer, you were there when people have like IRL issues.
Yeah.
Parents are having issues, all that. I mean, when I was guild leader, I got all that stuff. It was guild leader plus some sort of somebody to bounce off. Yeah, a little bit. Sometimes it's like, okay,
I mean, that's
my
good.
brother killed my dog this morning, and not only that, it's the dog deserved it, which made it so much darker. And
that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, so are you coming to the raid? That's all I need to know. I don't want any more information than that. Do I need to replace you? Or what? Can you play? That's all I need to know with that going on. But it was one of the reasons I actually stopped being a guild master. I was like, I can't do this all the time, especially when people were clearly lying to get out of the raid. You know, they used to like call him work and like, oh, my grandma died.
Oh, it's such a bad place if people are doing that in your guild, right? Because like. You want people to want to be there, right? Like, it's such a big problem.
And you're also allowed to not come for every raid.
Right, exactly.
It's
just like,
fine.
Hey, like, I want to play Rust with my friends tonight or whatever. Like, okay, that's cool.
It's totally fine. Like, we do not have an exact 20-man roster. It's okay. Like, there are people who can come in. We have friends. It's all good. I don't need you to come up with some made-up story. But I think, I don't know if at the time we had some sort of attendance loot prio thing, because you remember all the crazy wacky loot systems back in the day?
I remember, and all of that, they basically all boiled down to the same thing, except they were just, you have a different name for it, right? But it's like DKP, EP, GP, all that, it's like, oh yeah, we've taken DKP and we've made it better But it's like, it's pretty much just a different coat of paint on the same idea, right?
I moved us to Loot Council, which was just me, as quickly as humanly possible. Ooh. Oh, I mean, I'm pretty unbiased.
Got to consolidate that power. That's always one of the things that those dictators do when they get to the top, right? Just immediately start consolidating power.
Dratnos, in my humble opinion, I was a very fair judge.
I'm just...
Okay.
Throughout history, I think you'll find a lot of people who say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of them universally good people.
Yeah.
Historically speaking.
Exactly, yeah.
All universally fair and balanced is how I look at
Loot went to the
things.
right places, That's that's what happened.
The trick is to do an occasional sacrifice, and then people think you're great. So
I give somebody else an item you want?
Yes.
Yeah.
So during ZG farm, I passed on my warrior on Jinrock, the sword, to a hunter.
Okay.
It was AP. And the guild was like, no, you should take it. And I was like, no. It's fine.
It's better for them.
I pass because I am your glorious leader, and this is temporarily better for the team. And then that guy left the guild. Absolute bag of shit.
And then you get to use that as justification why never again does loot go anywhere except for you.
No, I didn't do that again. There was no way. Because I also loved that sword and it never dropped again. I definitely did it under the assumption it would drop again. It never did. It absolutely never did. I have been screwed on loot in World of Warcraft so many times. I killed, in vanilla, really the old vanilla, I killed Onyxia every single week. I never got the tier 2 helm.
Oh.
It never dropped. Not a single time did that thing drop. At the Cataclysm's Edge, as a tank, I was last in the prio for Cataclysm's Edge. Everybody got theirs. Never dropped again.
Oh, no.
Screwed. Absolutely screwed. I did get the Bulwark of Azeroth, though, on our second kill.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was
back then, the bosses were dropping, like 4 items for 40 people in vanilla or something like that? Yeah, that was... You were waiting a while. You were on farm for a while before you started getting your items, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really different now. Like, even it feels like less loot drops. I mean, they've dropped, like, the tier... We've reduced it this time, how much tier drops and stuff, but you still generally get geared up pretty well within the first month. You've usually got a lot of stuff. It feels like long gone are the days. Outside of Mythic Plus, like, I know during Shadowlands, the Maldraxxus caster trinket, some people ran, like, 40 runs to try and get that thing. Was it a Ruby something?
Soul-Editing Ruby, that thing from Theater of Pain. That's
the one.
Every season as well, you'd see the Warlocks logging back in. It's Theater of Pain time.
Oh, and I hate that dungeon.
I like that dungeon, but it was one boss too long for me. But I like the mechanics in there.
Which boss would you have dropped from that dungeon?
That's the hard part, right? Is
PvP
what boss?
Guy probably.
Yeah, or you could drop the first little bit of the dungeon and you just start down in the bottom of the.
That would have been it. I like that boss, though. I did quite like that.
It was a fun boss, and there wasn't much trash for it before it anyways.
Yeah, you could drop some traps to manipulate the boss a little bit.
The PvP boss was fun, though. That was always fun to grief your friends on.
Did you actually do that? I would have thought somebody who was involved in, like, the MDI and all that would have been Mr. Efficiency, like, just kneel down and let someone kill you quickly.
Oh, no, dude. And even when I was playing Prop Paladin, I would tip the scales by, like, bopping somebody as they were getting sent down. Give them a little bit of help, right, with their duel as it's about to start. Yeah.
That's really mean.
Yeah.
Someone trying really, really hard. We used to make agreements on who would kill who, and then somebody would betray you and be like, nah, screw you.
That's good. Literal prisoner's dilemma, right, in World of Warcraft, right? Just opportunity to betray there.
Yeah, every single time. But it was one of those ideas I think could have maybe been done a little better if we kind of both got a stacking damage buff, so you both had to DPS each other. Something like that, so you got like a percentage, and whoever won maybe got 2% more, but the other guy got like, let's say it was 10%, got 8%. Something like that would have been really nice. To encourage actually shooting each other.
They need to turn this bear into a duck here.
Yeah, we're duckless and poor.
All right, it's fine.
Here comes the duck. You see it charging in?
Coming in, yeah. As long as they get here before the cast finishes, it's okay.
There we go. We're ducked.
We're chilling.
Turkey engage. Well, apparently really more of a heron. That's what I was told yesterday. But yeah, we got a lot of ducks. Like, we've really leaned into the duck theme here.
Yeah, we've got the Get Ducked display. I see a few of them on the wall over there.
Yeah, don't duck with me.
Yeah.
Pathetic giant duck. And yeah,
Get Ducked on the,
we have got the Get Ducked. So again, we got a massive discount on the displays, up to 44% off for those. And there's a lot of big ducks on there to maybe memorialize this. Will it be Halondrous giant crab? I don't know.
It's early to say, but I doubt the Council of Dreams will be the Halondrous of the tier.
I don't think so either. Yeah. It's a fun boss, though. I like the idea of interrupting, using the bosses against each other.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. And it also makes, the thing I like about it is it changes how you use the mechanics. So it's not like you learn the mechanics, which is like, oh, this is the charge, we've got to soak it up or whatever. Yes on that one, no on this one. It's just changing how we utilize that mechanic without having to just create more mechanics. Because we could definitely remember some of those dungeon drills, Dranos, which are like, okay, so we've got some sort of biblical text here that we must go through with 84 drop-down menus of each little individual bit, just using the same mechanic in 2 different ways. Which is why the Council of Dreams is a fun boss. I like this one.
Yeah, little interactions between the bosses. They did a little bit with Primal Council as well, where it's like, oh, the fire needs to be, you need to step in the fire so that you don't get frozen by the blizzard or whatever like that. They've done these little interactions before on these council fights, but I do think there's some elegance to how it's done on this fight in particular, with using a boss's mechanics to interrupt or counteract a different boss's mechanics with these sort of like ultimate abilities that they do. You don't really see it quite as intense on these lower difficulties, because on the lower difficulties, the bosses will only cast their abilities 1 at a time, pretty much. On Mythic, you get 2 at a time, which means that you have to, like, somebody has to go and quickly turn the bear into a duck so that the bear will turn back into a bear in time to charge the dryad that is doing the constricting thicket. Ooh, there's one of those trinkets, Pip's Emerald Dream Friendship Badge. Those ones are pretty good.
I mean, the name needs work.
I think the name is a great part, but it's a nice little
That should be trinket. A new name for your podcast.
Pip's Emerald Dream Friendship Podcast. That'd be a good podcast.
Texting Max right now.
Yeah, that's I think he may be a little busy, but
with what?
Good question. Yeah, actually, I don't see Liquid on the leaderboard right now, so maybe they're not. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't even get the world first Farak.
Actually, I don't see Liquid, Echo, or Method on the Warcraft Logs leaderboard there. What are the top 3 from last tier doing here?
I'll tell you what they're not doing. Getting on the scoreboard.
That's true.
Lazy,
what I was saying.
Inefficient, and poor. Every single step of the way. This is why they spent 6 months doing the Omega Protocol in Final Fantasy. They're supposed to be the big top guild, but all we see is failure. Disaster from start to
They'll
finish.
have to shape up pretty quickly. Hopefully it is a nice long tier so that they can get these kinks ironed out by the time the bosses are actually going down.
I think it's got $50 from a thread that says, let's get quacky. Let's get quacky. Yes, we are, of course, raising money for Rise Above the Disorder, but also just you can send us fun comments and I can read them here, which is my main fun out of it, as well as, of course, helping mental health. That's important too, but also fun comments, so send them our way. And also we can actually play the sussy music. We want the touchdown. We want it happening every single step of the way. We are looking at Smolder on here, which, okay, casters are mixed on this strat, and I haven't spoken to you about it. I think this, if it's tuned right, is going to be an epic encounter in Mythic, like an absolute monster of a fight. But Alex disagrees and thinks it's probably just kind of going to fall over.
I mean, your 2 points aren't mutually exclusive, right? Like, if it's tuned right, it'll be epic, but it could just fall over. Those can be both true at the same time, because I do think it has the hallmarks of a fight that, if it's tuned well, the enrage at the end as well is just the fire rings coming in from the edge of the room, and that reminds me of Painsmith as well. That was such an epic end to that fight. So a combination of like the Painsmith ending on a Sludge Fist style of damage optimization with some extra damage burn phases type fight. That sounds like a recipe for a potentially great fight. Tuning dependent, right? If it's possible to just kill it 10 seconds before the enrage or whatever, your first time getting there on a clean pull, like Guardian of the First Ones was, then that's that fight will not be very memorable, especially if that's true at low item level, because of course we are expecting these guilds to be pulling these bosses substantially underneath the item level that they drop, especially because we're starting 13 item levels lower this tier relative to the content than we were last year.
Yeah, I'm hoping for great things from Smolderon. Like I'm looking for something Rygalon-esque.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
That's what I'm looking for, is something that can bring back that absolutely epic moment with Rygalon. Racing to that last...
It was so cool as well, because the numbers just seemed impossible pre-second legendary on Rygalon, and both Liquid and Echo found a way to do that fight that was different from each other.
That's what we want from these guilds.
It was so cool. Do you 4-heal it and just somehow you get through the healing part with the Heart of the Wilds and the defensives and perfectly figuring out all those? Or do you 5-heal it and somehow squeeze out more damage than anyone thought was possible out of those DPS that you do have? Two guilds came up with different answers. They both worked. It was so cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the... I know I was openly quite vocal about Sarkareth, and it wasn't to take away at all from what Liquid achieved, because they played so goddamn well through that whole tier. But what I want to see out of the guilds of this caliber, the players that are absolutely at the absolute top of their game, is what seems like an impossible challenge, and that's where there's that point when they go, okay, we can't just kill this.
Right.
We need to dig in, and we need to dig deep as to figure this out, and we need to push every player to their maximum limit to see how good they are. And when we get that boss, that's when I'm so invested in what the guys are doing and hearing crazy strategies. Even that I've seen these players. Obviously, I've casted a lot of the Race to World First for the last 7 years, and every now and again we get to that point, like Jaina, where it was like, can this be done? And I used to say no. And then I've seen them achieve it time and time again to overcome what seems to be impossible odds. And they find a way. They find a way to do it. And we had that, of course, with Sepulchre and Rygalon when we woke up and they're like, okay, they're 4 healing it now.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, we might 3 heal this or whatever. And I'm like, you couldn't even survive this with like 6 healers yesterday. Like, what are you doing? And they're like, we figured it out. And I'm like, that's what I want to see out of both of them. But we didn't have that in StarCraft. Like, we had deaths on both sides, on the world first and world second kill. That's not what I want to see. I want to see them like actually have to play a world first, nobody else can touch us level on both sides of the pond. That's what I'm looking for. And maybe Smolderon will give us that. And maybe T-Swift will give us that, but certainly we want that out for because we didn't even see that at Razageth. Obviously, we had the
Razageth. We saw Razageth. We had that moment as casters of like, is this mathematically possible? And the answer was no. They had to nerf it by 50%. We want that moment, but we want the answer to be yes, it is, because they figured it out and they played insane and they had an incredible strategy. Right.
Yep.
That's something that little immune fades here on Naimu at 4%. You hate to see it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, tragedy
Clicks
here.
looks so depressed, actually, that's
happened. Like minus 1 minute as well for the split here. Oh, no, they killed the ad so fast. All right, we're chilling.
We had this yesterday. It's like, oh, here's the ads. We were going to talk about what they do and how it translates to Mythic, and it did.
Yep, easy.
We're moving on with our lives. It's not going to happen as Mirez's group does hit up to Smolderon. A little bit further behind this time. Obviously, putting up so many different groups. Can we go to Scripe real quick? I assume we're running 4 again. We are. Yes.
Yep. Ooh, okay, so we can see we've got T-Swift in the bottom left. We've got, it looks like, Naimu defeated for both teams on the top. And then we have Smolderon about to be pulled by Mirror. So Mirror's actually in second. Smolderon is after Naimu here, so...
Are they doing 3?
Oh, okay. Yeah, these two might be in the same run. Are both of our top teams in the same split now? Let's try and investigate here. I see 4 Demon Hunters. I see 5 Evokers. Is that true? Is there 5 Evokers on the left? I don't see 5 Evokers on the left. These are different splits in the top.
They are different.
They're just
happen to be at the
they're
same
just
place.
at the exact same place. Is this okay? There's 5 Evokers on the right team. How many Evokers on the left?
Yeah, you can do it by the Shamans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
They're totally different.
They're different. They're different splits that are just identically progressed here. Our top 2 splits. Wow. Look at that. How synced are these animations? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So now we've got another race. We've got I think it's Gingy's group versus Andy Brews.
Yeah, here's Gingy's group, which is
in
the T-Swift group. Yeah, the farthest ahead of these splits.
And he's on the Moon Kid, so I don't even think we've seen Gingy in what is likely to be his main, although he is.
He played one of the BM Hunters earlier, right?
There's no way. There's no way we're going to see BM stacking. I'm out.
You don't think so? Dude, BM is really... I think,
but I hate BM Hunter.
I think Gingy's playing Hunter this year. I don't know.
He's got to be going to the mage, surely.
No
I mean,
shot.
maybe Moonkid.
They've got a lot of mage mains in this guild, right? They can play people like Flex, right? They've got mages ready. Moonkin could be it. I bet this is a Gingy Hunter tier. Who else is going to be their main Hunter, right? Rogers looked like he's been watching from the outside so far, so...
No, Rogers never stepping out. He's I mean, this is the most decorated world first raid
in
history.
True. That's true. Maybe he'll be coming in as Hunter 1.
Is there anybody in the world who's had more world first than Roger Brown? Maybe Perfecto?
That would be a cool stat to have, like of end bosses.
That's a trivia question.
That's something for a nice Race to World First historian out there to go and...
What did Roger miss? He wasn't there for Jaina because he had to do military service.
Okay.
But I think that was it.
So of the ones that this team has gotten, he's been in for...
Yeah, so he joined the world first race in Wrath of the Lich King. So I remember when he got invited. And I whispered him, and I was like, I'm so glad there's another British person in the team. And then he just replied to me saying, I'm Greek. And I was like, oh. Why are you called Roger Brown? And he just said, I thought it was a funny name. And I was like, okay. Nice to meet you, though, by the way. So that would have been, what, Wrath of the Lich King, however many years ago that was. But when was Method's first world first?
That's a great question.
It was not Wrath of the Lich King, because that was
Paragon. Yeah, I think it was Paragon up through
all the way till
up
Lich
till
King.
like WAD, right? Or is that not accurate?
Cataclysm Start was Paragon.
Yeah.
Dragon Soul was the Korean Guild. Was it Stars?
Okay, Mist apparently
Shah
could be.
of Fear?
Could it be? Or Garrosh? I think Shah.
No, Shah was Method.
There was one of the guilds, like one of those was the last NA World First as well. Maybe that was, I think that was Shah of Fear. Maybe there was the last NA one until.
No, Method got World First Shah.
Okay. I think it was Mop the last NA World First until Nazoth happened.
Yeah.
That maybe was on 10 player or something though. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, because it wasn't.
Because back then, of course, 10 and 25 were still separated.
What was the other boss? Who got World First?
There was the
Will the Emperor.
Will
was
the
Method,
Emperor.
I think.
Yeah, and then there was Shah of Fear.
And then we had the third instance.
There was Princess something, right? The one in Heart of Fear. End boss Heart of Fear, right? Not Shah of Fear, because Shah of Fear was in Toes, right?
I know. I remember what the mechanics were. I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the Sulong raid. Whoa, team. Okay, get up. Don't you just come in here and rock your ass onto the Quairhead. That's outrageous.
I got in a lot of trouble last time when I lobbed that thing halfway across the room.
Did you throw it?
No, it was in the last race where I threw it across the room, and then somebody linked it to you on your stream because you were streaming at the time, and then you stormed in.
And you know I was genuinely angry.
I feared for my life. I saw the look in your eyes. There was murder in there.
Yeah, I was furious. Yeah. Actually furious. Welcome, Krista.
Hello.
How was your raid?
Pretty good. I just, for the record, am now officially ahead of Echo prog-wise, so pretty proud of that. And I'm just coming here to, do that thing where you get ahead and you start watching other guilds trying to catch up.
Yeah. All the plebs.
So exactly.
Farming normal mode. Right?
Yeah, come on.
I know. Disgusting. Where'd you get up to? You've been doing heroic, I assume?
Oh, yeah. We full cleared normal and then just got like 5 of the heroic bosses, so. And I got my 4 set as a healer, so I got some favoritism going on there.
Yeah, that sucks for forcing you to play Holy Paladin for so long.
Yeah, you know what's funny actually is like 4 people that share my tier piece just happen to be gone today, so I just got all of them.
Wow.
Who's ditching week 1 raiding?
A really bad timing. Well, we got one person that's at some world tournament for some card game. I can't remember which one, but something like that.
Such an interest in your fellow guildies' hobbies. I don't know, some card game,
Sorry.
Magic the Hearthstone or something, I don't know. I don't know, Gwent or whatever.
Oh, that was a good game.
Gwent was dope.
Oh. It was. I had hopes for the standalone.
I played a lot of that standalone. I made it to the pro rank in that game on standalone, actually.
Oh, you platinum to death?
Yeah, I was back in before the homecoming changed to it. King Henselt, that was a good deck. It was a lot of fun.
Kicking ass and taking names.
Oh, yeah.
Multi-gaming.
God, that was a good game.
What did you think of Farak?
Farak? So, I knew nothing going into that fight. I had no clue what was going on, but I have to say from just, I don't know, just doing it seems pretty cool. I think it's one of those fights that just feels like it has a bit of everything in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some ads, it's got like this healing ads, different damage patterns, just, healer pop that no one cares about. Lots of people taking individual damage, or heavy amounts of individual damage while maintaining, like, raid rot. It's just really kind of got everything, so.
Were you okay with the ads? Because they've not put a funky UI in to heal them, right? So you're just using friendly nameplates there, or what?
Yeah, I mean, healing ads do become a bit annoying, but I don't know. Sometimes when they're kind of grouped, I think it kind of depends on the class you're playing. So if you're playing like a shaman, you can just throw like a chain heal or something, and I can just like throw a lighted on. But if you're having to sit there and spam like individual single target, that can be annoying because then it's just like, if you ever have to fight over which nameplate you're trying to hover, that's where it can get annoying. But I don't really feel like I have to do that too much. Just throw a lighted on and leave it to druids or something.
Yeah, it's other people's work.
Yeah.
Pretty poor. But we got Echo running 4 splits simultaneously. They're trying to outdo Liquid, who was, we think, doing 3.
I saw 3. That's all. I don't know for sure if they had a 4th one hidden away that I didn't see, but when I was looking, it looked like they were doing 3 and Echo here on 4.
Yeah, so with that many splits, is what is it then, like 10 raiders with roughly 20 helpers?
Yeah, something like that ratio. In some cases, even I think a little bit lighter on the raiders than that.
Oh wow.
Which, yeah, it's impressive, right?
Never mind, I'm not as
Gingy is getting a lot of PI favoritism in this raid, no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what, it's like Moonkin and BM Hunter, he's been getting those PIs, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of favoritism going on here. towards Gingy, which I think is insta-death.
That's okay. That's all good. Oh, players trying to drop their circles over nice in the old fire.
Yeah, don't do that.
Does drop just an extra one in a random
place,
place,
where it's
right?
landed.
Yeah.
You see how awkward that is? Because it bounces
It's
out.
your instinct, right? You get a mechanic like that, and you're like, yeah, let me take this to the old fire. But you actually want to just put it next to the old fire, not in the old fire.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch to that mechanic, because it can actually screw you up even more. Trying to be helpful actually ruins, potentially, certainly on Heroic and Mythic, is like, do not do that at all. We had another death go down there. I don't think they're going to have a wipe, but they're definitely bleeding a couple of players early in the Farak encounter. But I'm so happy with how this looks. I was dreading it. Absolutely dreading what this fight would look like, but this arena is perfect for fighting Farakin.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful combination of colors. It's nice because it is visually clear, but it also looks good, right?
Yes.
And that's, I think, the two priorities that when Blizzard has to choose between those, they've often chosen looking good, and I'm glad they were able to get both done on this.
Oh, I just noticed then you can kind of step in a little bit. I think they've been checking the hitboxes a little bit. You can overlap them ever so slightly.
Okay.
Yeah, if you
little Venn diagram activity. They're getting a little bit closer to these roots. If those roots catch fire, that's the end of the whole world here. So hopefully they're going to be able to get this push in before that happens. Getting a little bit sketchy perhaps on the DPS here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's something that they always just have to watch out for when they have so many helpers in. And
all right, we're through.
Yeah, they're good.
It's good.
I'm always curious, like, how much the helpers can actually help, because sometimes there's situations where it's like, look, you just need to jump off the platform and tag it, or, they're like, look, they give them, like, basic instructions to follow, like, our 40% jump off here. We don't want you helping with this last phase.
Yeah, in most cases, a lot of the helpers are raiders on their ults, so they're usually not an issue, especially with how much gear was available last season. A lot of players have, a lot of the raiders have a lot of very geared ults that they're not going to be using this week with their main raids. To jump in on, but it's not the guy.
Yeah, if I wasn't casting this, I would absolutely. If I wasn't casting this and didn't need to spend as much time doing M+ as I do, I would definitely join some helper raids and play one of my ults that was geared from last season and help out a little bit.
Every time I have tried to or jumped into an Echo raid, they've trolled me. I've had Jesse dispel me on Raden to instantly kill me while laughing hysterically while I've done it. I've had Roger grip me into all kinds of stuff. So I actually tell Echo to screw off when they're looking for extra players. I don't want any part of their shenanigans, and I don't want to help them out, frankly. We're doing enough, and that's all they deserve. As those ads are wandering in, they're nicely healed up though. Looks pretty good, but no downtime in this fight either. Like something Alex pointed out yesterday, even when Farak leaves, so technically the boss is immune, they always leave you with something to do. Not some weird intermission where you stood around scratching your balls waiting for something to happen. Oh, I love that animation.
Yeah, it's beautiful as well, right across
and it looks
the
like
middle.
you can stun right on the edge.
See, this is the part where I think DK is going to be good. Look at these ads. Look at those death grips coming in to get them nice and grouped together. Imagine having one of the... Ooh, Ring of Peace.
Stopping the casts.
Okay, yeah, interrupting casts with Ring of Peace, although I think they would rather not have had some mobs on the other side of that Ring of Peace.
And then even right there, you can see the healing ads walking in. They walk in like a nice little...
little formation.
Little formation of 5, where it's like, it can get a little tricky with the nameplates. But surprisingly, by the way, on normal, they actually take a while to heal up. Like... we were even struggling to top some of them off sometimes. You don't need to completely, because the point of them is to heal like the arena that you're fighting on, basically. But I was actually very surprised on normal. Sometimes some packs are making it in without getting full health.
Looks like Echo here is not having that much trouble, so maybe there's a healer core differential.
Was it a skill issue?
Yeah, it could be.
I mean... I'm not gonna pretend I'm an Echo player or anything.
They have a much larger raid size full of helpers as well, so...
What we need is an on-command button production where Ian just pops onto the screen and says, frankly, that's a skill issue.
That's good. I've seen that be somebody's like sub-alert before.
That's not on my class. Okay, that's probably... I think so. We'll see.
He said
I don't actually know.
That was one of those things. He said that during my interview with him.
Really?
And I never even we never pick up on it at the time. And then as soon as I came out of the interview, have we seen Reddit? And it was just saying, frankly, that's a skill issue. I was like,
oh, that's me?
That's a sussy Dratnos.
Actually, that was an undisclosed handsome sound operator. Don't know, they were disguised. Could have been anybody.
I would love it if it was Tells.
Sunglasses and the fedora. It could have been literally anybody.
Yeah, and he's always wearing a fedora.
Of course, well known fact.
Yeah. He was wearing one non-stop at BlizzCon. As I spoke to him, he just stood there in his fedora, looking sharp. Shirt on, the whole business. He's a classy, gentle sir.
That he is.
Is that what you describe him as?
Absolutely, yeah.
He's a classy chicken in a fedora.
Yeah, part of the Moonkin Gaslight Brigade that we now have a member of, Nagura, who is, of course, not on this shift, but will be here later today.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And I get Kush is having a good time now. He's actually beating Gingy in the DPS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, revenge is Kush's after being absolutely dominated. That's a chill look now. He's winning.
Yeah, earlier, you may have missed this, Krista, because, of course, you were busy raiding, but earlier, during the shift you were supposed to cast for, but earlier, during that shift, he was very confused as Gingy was beating him on damage, and there was some footage, some replays of him looking over at the damage meters, just equal parts like disgust at the damage breakdown and confusion of what was going on.
Mousing over the details?
Mousing over the details,
so
yeah. Looking through like, what has happened here? This is not fair.
No,
I call foul.
Yeah, he was very upset that a BM Hunter was not only winning, but dominating.
Yeah, it was not close. It was like twice the damage of everybody else on that trash pull. It was disgusting.
In anime translation, Gingy stepped on him in all kinds of ways. This is we keep calling them Halondrus bombs. How this is going to play out in Mythic, I don't know. You pick up these orbs and you can't get hit by anything that happens in the fight. You really have to get your most trusted players there to. Are you going to be volunteered there, Christy? Do you think?
Okay, hang on. Let me predict what's about to be said here. There's about to be an explanation of why it's not a Holy Paladin job. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say there was a funny meme in our raid where it was like, okay, only our most skilled players should pick these up. So I just watched to see who would pick them up as an observer, just to see where people stack themselves up. And I thought I have too many things to focus on. This is not aiding into what you said would just happen, but
I'm already overwhelmed with mechanics here.
Yeah, I'm so busy watching all the 19 other people in my raid to try and get an idea of how self-confident they are. That's taking up all my brain power right now. I can't do anything else. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, I love it. You want the classic? I can do it, but I'm just letting you know people might die.
Yeah,
it's one or the other. You pick one, and it'll go that way. As we've had another Farak death. What's the time?
The time? Well, so they were going to be faster because they didn't do the first bosses.
50 minutes.
They didn't do at least the first. I think the first two.
Yeah.
First two got skipped here, so that's going to speed this up. The first split of the day took 75 minutes. This one took 50.
So they definitely shaved a lot of time.
Yeah.
Not 25 minutes for Nalru and
Agira, yeah.
So are we comparing like the same groups or are these like separate?
Like a global timer that started from when servers came up was because all that time counts, right? Whether you were forming the group or getting here or whatever you were doing, that was time that mattered.
It certainly was. Well, as Farak has died and is going to die again, it's time for me to leave you.
Okay.
And I will be back later this afternoon.
Are you sure that you don't want to swap with me for this shift?
Hang on. Yeah, pretty sure. Why? Have you got Mythic Plus to go and do, or is it just Rumble?
No reason. No reason. That's okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay?
I'll do my best. I'll do what I can.
I feel a tension rising.
But
you'll be
difficult.
fine, I'm sure. You'll be fine. So I'm going to leave you guys, and I'll be back later this afternoon. So have fun.
Bye, Mike. Thanks for coming on. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
bye.
Thanks for covering. I'll move a little closer to you, or actually,
not necessary. Oh yeah, just here. Okay.
We can sit close to each other and feel like it's a little more of a human, human interaction.
This is awkward, awfully uncomfortable. Did you shower today?
I was actually thinking that in the cast room. I was like, I feel like I smell bad.
Well, you were right about one thing.
Well, I mean, just the other day you were telling us how many showers you banked up, and I think you're at 4. So I don't know if
that's
you're
true.
Continuing that.
No, I had 6 banked. I had 6 banked, so I'm down to 5. It's good though.
Oh, okay.
We're making good use of them. Hopefully, it's a nice short tier. Else, I'm gonna run out.
Oh no! Well, I know Nagura mentioned she ran out of the 2-in-1 soap, so.
Oh yeah.
In case that happens to you, see, I'm normal and I'm not using that because I'm not using any soap at all. So if you want any,
You don't use soap, but you brought some to have?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can like put it in a little bag and.
I see. I appreciate the offer. If mine runs out, I may take you up on that.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how long this race goes. Hopefully, a long time. Personally.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. I'm thinking we're going to be in for a lot of days of splits. I think that. So on the Sarkareth tier, last tier, we saw splits ending on like Friday. I think I think if we can see splits, I would lock that in right now. If somebody offered me splits done on Friday, I would take that deal because I'm worried it might not be done by Friday. I think there's a lot of work that the Raiders are going to have to do to prep their characters. Normal splits, bunch of normal splits, get some kind of characters ready, but then also heroic splits are going to have to happen. A lot of gear upgrades are available from M+ as well. Of course, costs a lot of time to do that, but I think that time is going to be worth doing because they're just going to need the gear to be able to do these bosses, I think.
Also, speaking of, I know obviously it's due to like a multitude of reasons, but you know, we're seeing them actually go in and just fight the last boss right away. A lot of times we see them in previous tiers where it's like, you know, they're leaving Jailer, which part of that was due to the fact that he just didn't have that good of gear.
Yeah.
But now it's nice to see that it's just kind of like a straight shot 'cause it's like all splits are done, but wait, how many Razagast did they leave?
Yeah, they have left the first two bosses unkilled in these lockouts, but they hopefully don't have to go back to them. Although Igira is a tier boss, so if somebody's at, you know, 3-piece or something like that, then they'll be able to go back and potentially do another split of just that boss, you know, with a bunch of people, or with, I guess, doesn't matter who you bring, right? Your chances are the same of getting the token you need. But yeah, I like that. I like that they've tweaked the end boss loot so that it's worth killing. I thought that was a really weird part of the Jailer tier, was that Heroic Jailer was just not worth doing over all the other bosses on Heroic, or you know, getting into Mythic or whatever, anything like that. I think that the Omni tokens that these bosses have been dropping has been really good for making that last boss feel like something you want to go and do.
Yeah, I was going to say that I really do like the philosophy that they're at least trying to chase, which is like, we want to incentivize people to kill the last boss before going into the new difficulty. Obviously, we don't completely see that all the time. Like in most cases, it is still easier to kill the first mythic boss than to kill the last heroic boss. But I just still completely agree with the philosophy. And, you know, with the gear, like you mentioned, it wasn't as good for some of the bosses, but then they bring like the Omni token, and, you know, we see things like the Sarkareth cloak. So I think it's really good that they properly increase the tier of tier as you get to the more difficult bosses.
Yeah, the Omni token is just such a perfect reward as well. It's so nice to be able to just fit into anybody's gear who needs it. This tier as well, I think it's going to be extra valuable because I think there's a pretty big, at least in the comps that I've been looking at and the comps that I've been theory crafting for my guild, which Echo may have a very different idea, and if they do, theirs almost certainly be better than mine. But when I've been doing comps this tier, I've noticed that we have a lot of people on the Zenith token, which the Omni token, of course, can be used by anybody. So if those are getting assigned over to players on that Zenith token, that's hunters, evokers, monks, and warriors. I think that's the premier token of this tier, and I think most of your Omni tokens are going to go there for the top guilds.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting because I know some guilds seem to have like a serious disproportion.
Yeah, well, because there's always just
drop.
you just RNG, right? Like some guilds are just like, I only drop venerated, and some guilds are like, we haven't seen venerated in months, right?
Yeah, see, that's something that happened with mine because I thought like there must be something to this because almost 50% through the whole tier of tokens that drop were venerated because we were keeping track. Like that's so weird. The chance of that happening is really low, so it's never good if you don't have that proportion of classes that take the token, but you know, sometimes it happens.
Ooh, here's okay, no, this is Scribe's POV. Okay, I thought I saw Roger there. What? No, okay, this is Roger's as well. Roger is watching Scribe, watching all four of them. Is that what I'm to take from from this POV that we're watching? Yep, production's confirming it. Roger is watching Scribe, watching all four of these. Very interesting that that Roger is watching rather than playing. The past few tiers, he's always been in on these splits early on. But maybe he's playing fewer characters this tier to help optimize the splits more. That's, you know, some of the organizational responsibility that maybe they've decided to move on to him.
Yeah, I'm not really sure on that, too, because I know, well, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen him play anything but Hunter.
Hunter looks good this tier, though. I don't know.
Yeah, which I was just going to say, like, their damage profiles are actually looking pretty insane. I honestly don't really know much about Hunter. I've just kind of noticed. I've been pulling up logs and seeing like they're kind of making a bit of a comeback.
Yeah. Now some of that might be, of course, we don't have tier out yet. Some specs that maybe had. It's not even. You didn't even want a good set from last year. You wanted a pretty good set, but not good enough to get nerfed coming into this patch because like they nerfed a lot of the Aberrus 4 pieces for the specs that they were really, really insane on. But you wanted, if you had a nice Aberrus set bonus, but maybe a mediocre Amirdrassil one, you're going to look really good this week. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be good once everybody actually has their Amirdrassil 4 pieces, which that's going to be an important variable, a grain of salt that you need to make sure you have taken when you're looking at these damage meters from splits.
Yeah, that actually is very true because there's some classes where their 4 sets or whatever are just like completely useless for any changes that have happened to the class. Like, for example, I'll just use my own. Like, Holy Paladins now, it looks like they might be running Holy Prism, and our whole 4 set in the last raid was just based around the I should know my own ability name.
Light's Hammer?
Yeah, Light's Hammer. I was about to say Hammer, but I'm like, no, that's the Execute. But it's based around Light's Hammer, which you don't really want to run anymore. So it's like, we'd kind of replace it instantly. But just kind of like you said, there's some where their 4 sets are really good, and we've just seen so many changes happening going into this tier now, as we always do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that we'll get an idea of what the comp's going to be, but not for a while, right? We're going to have to wait until we actually see when they get into those mythic bosses. We can maybe get some idea when we start seeing which characters are getting the gear assigned to them, but that's always pretty tricky to catch in these things. It's hard to see exactly where that's going, and in some cases, when they're running these splits, there is some RNG associated with it, right? Even if you have a character that's like, hey, I think this is probably going to be my main, you bring it to its split, none of the tier on your token drops, guess what? That's not your main anymore, right? You got to pick one of the other characters, and it's got to get lucky in its split instead, because you can't play with you in the race to world first. 0 to 1 people in the team can have everybody's gonna have 4-piece basically, right? Like everybody's got to have it at this point in order to make it into the raid once once they're in mythic.
Yeah, we've seen that in some of the previous tiers where it's like it feels like half the names are original names, but then the other half is like random Nagi 7. Flex 2. So it's just like they had to rely a lot on, especially when it was like personal loot. I think there's that's a bit more mitigated now, given how there's like you can actually decide more where the loot's going. But sometimes
with the Omni token and the Catalyst and Omni tokens from the last boss, you can force it to some extent, right? But it takes a lot of splits if you want to force it on everybody. Now, luckily, Echo are running a lot of splits. They are running a great deal of splits, so they could force Omni token 4 sets on everybody that on any set of characters they wanted to. It's just a question of if they're going to run those splits enough to do that. And, ideally, they'd want to make sure that they get the characters that are having good trinkets and weapons dropping for them as well. Those are also important variables that they'd like. You want all the good things to happen to the same character, and then that's your main, and that character comes in and kills the bosses and looks really good.
Yeah, you certainly do, and you always want to hope that it goes, you're picking and choosing the right classes as well, because as this is something that we've hit on a million times over previous races, but they really do try to build their comps around what they're going to see with the final boss or bosses, because once in a while we'll see a very difficult second to last boss. So a lot of it is just kind of like speculative, and I'm trying to think if we've actually seen a time where they're like, they get somewhere and they're like, shoot, we really wish we needed this class. I'm sure there were instances of this, but
yeah, it's definitely happened. There's been regrets about stuff that's been prepped. I remember at the time Limit, of course, now Liquid, back on Gahoon, showed up with like mages prepped instead of warlocks, and that was a fight you needed 4 warlocks on. Gates, that's like, you're like, oh no, this is not good. But you see it happen to Echo as well, right? And you'll even see them often doing especially it's a multi-week tier, right? Tuesday of the first reset, that's when like somebody's random shaman starts getting geared because they want a shaman in next week, and so they go and do an extra split for it or something on the last day of the first reset, and then the next week, bang, it's a main again and it's coming in.
Oh, I just actually did remember. I think on Broodkeeper we saw the emergency Death Knight.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That I was like, I know I thought of like there was a big one, but yeah, the emergency Death Knight now was like 15 eye levels below everyone or something.
And that's kind of a tank special. Not really any other roles where you would drop 15 eye levels for class. Like if you're doing that, you've messed up horribly, because dropping 59 levels on a DPS player is it's cataclysmic, right? That's a really rough thing to have to do. Might be right in some cases, but if that ever happens, that's usually a big failure of prep would lead to that happening. But on your tanks, sometimes that happens. Sometimes tank utility is just worth 50 item levels or whatever. If you AMS a debuff and it just goes away, that is worth a whole lot. So that's something that can happen any tier. That's part of the reason why tanks are always prepping every single tank class and not doing this. I mean, they're doing some amount of mirrors, but they're not doing the same amount of mirrors that everybody else is doing. They're not quite as committed to their one main. They're making sure to at least have one decently geared character of every single class that can tank.
Yeah, definitely can't relate to that as I think historically the most brought class to raid, but
the Holy Paladin, yeah.
I don't envy having to make so many of those, or I shouldn't say mirror characters because they're not, but having to make so many different classes, it would be really hard to keep track of everything like that. So it's sometimes tanking gets memed a little bit for being easy in a raid. Obviously not at this level, but it's if you think of the other things that they have to do, and it feels like a lot of them are pigeonholed into doing the raid leading as well. So it's there's a lot that comes with it.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting role because historically it kind of was just this role where it's okay, all of the decisions and mechanics that you have to deal with in raid tended to be quite easy, but if you screwed them up, the raid would wipe. Nowadays, a lot of the mechanics are also just kind of hard on their they've been upping the intensity of the tank mechanics in the past few tiers, which I've been a big fan of. I think it's made raiding a lot more interesting, but of course, then you do end up screwing them up more often and wiping the raid, which feels very bad. So, of course, not very much room for that to happen at all at this level. Although this tier tanks do get a nice little bit of help. There's a nice little cheat death trinket that tanks can wear from Lower Dawn of the Infinite that I do recommend for making that happen a little bit less for you during Prague.
Yeah, even with, actually, speaking of, with that trinket, do you think for tanks that would be considered something that's BIS, or would they still want to do something that min-maxes a little more damage?
It depends a little bit on the spec. There are some tanks like Blood Death Knight that already have Purgatory on their talent tree that is a really short cooldown cheat death effect that they often are able to take, so they maybe aren't interested in a trinket slot being used on that. But I would say even for them and for most of the other tank spec stuff like Brewmaster, if you can get your hands on one of those Prophetic Stone Scales trinkets from Lower Dawn of the Infinite, I would say for almost everybody that's going to be BIS. Maybe not in the Race to World First, right? In the Race to World First, you probably need to optimize the damage to an extent that, wearing a trinket that just saves you from deaths, that's something that you can shave for more damage. But I think in most guilds, if you can save 5 or 10 pulls of tank deaths not being tank deaths, that's going to be more valuable, and your raid will be doing more damage because they'll have more practice, that it will be worth it. So I'm always in favor of cheat deaths, so I think cheat deaths are really, really good.
Yeah, that same argument was actually kind of used for Spore Cloak, where it's
even Spore Cloak was so good. Not good this tier. They nerfed it into the ground, but I love Spore Cloak.
Yeah, I did too. It was because even if, you're losing some damage because it's an embellishment and all that, the amount of deaths that it saves, because that absorb is for, God, I don't even remember, it was your whole health bar almost.
2 or 3 health bars, yeah. That thing it was basically Divine Shield, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what the best part was? For me, I'm the healers finally got something, because it's the damage checks in the last raid didn't seem as strong, so it's prove that you truly care about Prague by putting on a Spark Look of your DPS, and so all the ones that did, you guys are MVPs. It just proved the point, Yeah,
I think almost every guild would have killed Sarkrath faster if more people wore Spore Cloaks in their guild. I think that's true of almost every guild. Again, maybe not the Race World First level. In the Race World First level, they only had one embellishment as well in week 1, right? So okay, all right, maybe not there, but I think everywhere else, Spore Cloaks were OP. Not OP anymore. They among several other good embellishments got nerfed pretty hard over the past few weeks. So I think we're in this kind of sad state of embellishments where it's okay, I guess I'm wearing Shadow Flame armor kit, and it's doing a little bit of damage, I guess. Yeah. There's this plate helmet that's kind of interesting that you maybe
is that a newer one?
Yeah, there's a plate helmet that's new that it's taking damage, has a chance to give you a shield and mark an ally, and then if you walk on top of the ally, you both get another shield. And that's kind of a cool effect, but it's a pretty small shield. There's Elemental Lariat, of course, back as a good option. A couple of other just old good embellishments. They're stat sticky ones, but I don't know. I see why they nerfed Forecloak, but I'm sad about it, right? Like, I love that. I love that thing.
It was nice because Blizzard actually made a blue post or a comment on it somewhere, which, you know, you could kind of see it coming, but they're basically saying, like, they just didn't like the idea of you make, like, a pretty serious mistake that should be punishable by death, being saved by a Spore Cloak, and whatever it was, like 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes it could activate or something. So it felt really nice, but it's one of those things where I can very much see their argument for
that's the thing, right?
why.
Like, I understand it. I'm sad about it, but I get it, right? Like, I would have done the same thing if I was in charge of balancing, but, you know, I would have been sad about it as well.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like another set of splits is underway, though. We've got splits, the third set of splits for the day. So this is splits 9, 10, 11, and 12 of today. That'll be happening on our screens right now. Time to beat was 50 minutes to execute the last set of splits, so we'll see if they're going to be able to beat that this time. That would be pretty impressive.
All right. Let's see. All right. Probably started, what? Do you want to say 7:20?
Yeah, 7:20 or something like that. I guess maybe we start counting from, I don't know, whenever. We'll make something up, and we'll see if they're faster than the made-up time. Here's Laradar, which is where Miraz is at. I think this is the boss they start this split on, I think. I'm not sure if they do Volcaros in this split. They definitely skipped the first two. I'm not sure if they were skipping Volcaros as well. But it makes sense. Boss doesn't drop tier.
This is very much one of the raids I really wish I could see. Like, there should be like a guessing game. How many tabs in their Excel sheets are there? To just like win one of the giveaways or something. In fact, I may go suggest that later. But like, because I keep hearing about all the sheets, and this one feels like it's even more over the top than before.
Like, how many total tabs are there in Echo spreadsheets for this tier?
Yeah, like how many sheets? How many total sheets?
Okay.
Are there? I'm very curious to know, like, because I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would guess.
Anything.
Oh man, I would guess like 40, something like that.
40. I would guess for like a main raid one that they all have access to. I'd probably go like 60 or 70.
Okay.
So.
Yeah?
This is something we're going to have to check on later, though.
All right, yeah, maybe after the tier we'll see. This is probably something they probably keep a little bit secret until it's over. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe, I guess not much you could do that information as a competitor
a tab
right
number,
now.
Though.
Yeah, just a number of tabs.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could figure that out, actually. That could be fun to do.
But
we've got Gingy on the Mage now, playing Frost. This is a good fight for Frost Mage as well. Even if you're playing the other specs on the other bosses, I think the way this fight looks, very, very good for the old Splitting Ice Frost Mage.
Yeah, I've never really played a mage, but I've just been hearing that apparently it's like all three of the specs are looking pretty good for the raid right now, which you don't really see very often for, I mean, any class.
All the specs are looking like good choices on the fights, although I'm not sure if mage is a class that we're going to see stacked. I mean, of course you have to bring one, right? You have to bring one for Arcane Intellect. I would guess that we don't see more than one or two on the mythic fights, but that'll be something that these sorts of predictions are always fun to make on the couch on during splits. No idea what it actually will look like once we get to mythic.
Yeah, I mean, like in recent history, we haven't really seen too many mages being stacked, and it also has been made significantly harder now that Aug Evokers have been introduced.
Yeah,
very hot topic.
More raid buffs as well, right? Like you've got the Hunter raid buff now. You've got the second Paladin raid buff. That's a lot fewer spots to stack classes in, and they have the Aug Evoker too. That's a great point. If you think Aug Evoker is good and you're going to play, you think they're going to play 2, you think they're going to play 4, that we are running out very quick of spots for anybody else.
Because like it's more limited than just 20 if you think about it, right? Because it's like you got the 2 tanks. You usually almost always have the 4 healers. And then if you have 2 Aug Evokers, that's 8 spots that are already gone. And then the 12 are given to whatever else.
Yeah, some of those are raid buffs. Of course, some of the healers and tanks can bring raid buffs too, but you fill those out with your raid buffs. The Warlock, if you don't want to count that as a raid buff, also pretty much mandatory. I would count it as a raid buff. And then you've got a couple of spots left, and you're fighting with a lot of specs for those last few spots, right? That's a difficult thing to do. But yeah, Mage. This could be. Gingy's pumping on this Frost Mage here.
He kind of does that on any class.
That's
he plays,
true.
Though.
He's. I think this is the third split, the third class he's played, and he's been at the top or near the top on all 3 of those splits. So.
Yeah, every time he just feels like he's like first chair for whatever class he's playing.
Yeah, he's Yeah, he's a pumper. That's always been his thing.
Gingy Pumper.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure that's one of his tune names,
I think it is, yeah. This one's Gingy Mage too, but Gingy Pumper is absolutely one of his characters.
Yeah, well, since you've been able to watch a lot of the normal splits, I know it is kind of hard to tell based off of normal, but do you have any updated predictions for what you think might kind of be like one of the walls? Because I have some from doing the raid myself now, but I'm just curious to hear what you think.
On Mythic difficulty, once we get there?
Yeah.
I think, let's see. I think I'm still on, like, Laradar, T-Swift, Varrock. I think those will be the three, like, relatively hardest for their positions in the raid.
Yeah, I think Laradar as well, because there's, like, certain times where, like, just so much damage comes out relative to, like, the difficulty, where it's like, where did that come from? It's one of those things where it's like, did we do something wrong, or is it actually supposed to hit this hard? And we can even see it right here, right, where they stand on this plant, which just gives them DR from one of his massive AoE raid abilities, but their raid looks a lot healthier, so
yeah,
I think
that's
this answers the question of we probably did something wrong.
It does look like they're healing in there. Yep, that's good. You try that sometime. That's really good for those moments in these fights.
No, but that aside, there is like a lot that actually is going on in this fight. So this is the one that does. I do feel like this will be the first, like, at minimum, a medium wall, like where it starts to be like okay, this one actually takes like 60, 80 pulls.
Something in that range, the 50 to 100. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I think T-Swift over 100 pulls, and Varrock around that 200 pull mark I'd be really happy with that sort of pull counting there. Although, yeah, I mean, I wonder if that would still be possible to get all done within 1 week if they have this many splits to do. Which I think there's going to be a lot of splits here. I think we're in for many days of splits.
Yeah, I kind of believe a little bit in the rubber banding, where it's just like sometimes there's overcorrections in the other way. But since we'd had a pretty easy tier last year, I feel like just historically we're going to see that thing where now this is going to be tuned a bit more difficult. It's certainly what I'm hoping for, though it is 9 bosses, which now seems to be kind of like the average raid size that we're seeing lately. It seems like it's just kind of slowly gone down over time, because I look back to like Hellfire Citadel, which was I think 13 or 12 or 11. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. But there's just like those raids that had so many bosses, and that was like the norm. And now I remember in the past thinking 9 was not a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and now 9 feels kind of like average-ish, you know, pretty much, right? And there's some raids that are 8 or 7 or whatever. Yeah. I think I liked those like ICC, HFC, right? Those raids, Siege of Oregon, right, where it's like 12 or 13 bosses or whatever. You're like, wow, this is this place is massive. I think it's fitting, especially for the end of an expansion. But a lot of those bosses were filler, right? Like, a lot of those early bosses are like, okay, was this raid really the fact that it had 7 filler bosses instead of 5, or 3 filler bosses instead of 1, depending on whatever difficulty you ended up being at? Like, was that really changed too much for those raids?
Mm-hmm.
I guess probably not at the end. It just kind of changes the number of bosses we associate with it, right?
Yeah, this is why over time I've actually started to like the smaller raids, because in the past I thought like, oh man, we get this like 12 boss raid. It's huge, it's scary, like it feels epic. But over time, it's like I think it's like the longer you play the game, the more you're like you've seen it all, and and I don't want to discount the devs here. There's a ton of unique mechanics in every new raid, but sometimes an overlap feels like something you find yourself saying very often. Oh, this works exactly like this mechanic, or oh, this works exactly like this one from 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm starting to lean more towards I do like the smaller boss raids where it's more about like the quality over the quantity and trying to do what they can to make these cool, unique, thematic encounters.
Yeah, exactly. I think, and there have been raids that have sort of succeeded at both. I think HFC, Hellfire Citadel, a good example of that, right? Where it's just like, Gore Fiend, Manaroth, right? Archimond, a lot of memorable bosses scattered all the way throughout that raid, right? There have been some raids that, like even some of the recent ones that have had, like you could look at Aberrus, and there were not a lot of bosses I'm going to remember for very long out of that place. I don't think in a couple years' time out of Aberrus, right? Like at least not for good reasons, right? Like Zaskarn and Magmarax are both I'll remember for bad reasons, with the Zaskarn cheese stuff and the Magmarax disappointment, right? So I agree with you. Like the quality and the number of high quality bosses, right? Of the number of fights like Painsmith or Sludge Fist or those sorts of things. The tiers where we get multiple of those are the real treats. And I think this tier has the potential to do that. I think, of the bosses, Laradar, this one here, Naimu, however you want to pronounce it, Smolderon, T-Swift, Farak, all 5 of those bosses have potential to be really impressive mythic fights. I doubt they'll hit all 5, but they come close, I'll be really happy.
It's got to feel really good for the creator of like a super good boss, because now we're I don't know what this is now at this point, 4 or 5 years later, and everyone, when they see like the really tough, tight tank and spank sort of boss, like Simple Mechanic, it's like, oh, that's the Sludge Fist.
Yeah.
But that's said in a positive way. Just really good.
Because up until then, I guess people would say like, maybe they would say, well, I guess it was Patchwork, right? Like, you'd be like, that's the Patchwork fight.
Yeah, originally it was Patchwork.
And then now it's the Sludge Fist fight, right? Like, Sludge Fist is the modern Patchwork. That's what we say instead of Patchwork now for the fights like it, which, yeah, I mean, hats off to that. That fight was an all-time great. And always, every tier there's something that gets compared to it. Rarely does it live up. I think the closest, like, Rygalon was sort of Sludge Fisty.
Yeah, like
it was like the more finesse version of Sludge Fist.
Yeah,
maybe.
They're like comparable in a way.
Yeah, they're related, but they're not like because Rygalon was also fantastic. That fight was phenomenal. But there's something about those fights where it's just like the mechanics are punishing, they're important, they feel weighty, but the fight is all about damage and healing. Right?
Yes.
And you're just like, you're looking at those numbers and you're like, I can do these numbers, right? And like, we're going to figure out the strat for the mechanics. We're going to do that. We're going to wipe to screwing that up a lot. But once we actually do that, we are going to be so happy, and we're going to just be pumping that damage. We're going to get to the enrage, and we're going to feel so good when we finally get to the other side of it.
Yeah, I have to say personally, this is how like it feels to me. So this is like a personal thing. I'm not sure if this like resonates with other people, but exactly what you're saying with like there's sort of these simple but super punishing and very difficult fights. Those ones feel like the best because for me personally, it's like, it feels like maximizing your class is first, and then the mechanics are like background noise. And I feel like if mechanics are too like front, like Stone Legion Generals, and then like thinking about what to do with your class feels secondary, I tend to not like those as much. But when it's just like, it feels like you're pushing your class to like the maximum, while having to do some like actual mechanics that makes you feel like you're doing mechanics, those always to me just by far feel like the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that playing your class on the fight, whenever you're like really starting to think like, oh yeah, this fight has this bit here and this bit here. Here's a talent I can use for this, or like here's how I can use my cooldown so that they work out on this fight, right? And when you really start to like get to flex that mastery of your class, on the fight, that is a really special feeling. And Sludge Fist, the way that Sludge Fist worked amplified that so well.
Oh god, yeah.
Smolderon has some similar characteristics to it as well. Like, in addition to really heavy incoming damage, parts you're gonna have to optimize your movement. There is also, these damage amp phases at these kind of weird spacings throughout the fight, where looking at that and figuring out when you're gonna want to use your cooldowns as a DPS player and a healer player, I think is gonna be really interesting, rewarding to do correctly, and difficult to execute while still being mostly about getting the numbers high, which, yeah, I'm excited for this fight. I think Smolderon has a lot of potential. It's so tough these days for Blizzard to land these fights at the, nuclear difficulty but not unfair level.
Yep.
With the level that these guilds are at, it's just so hard for them to make it mathematically possible but not easy for them. That's been something that I think has been a struggle the past few tiers. But this could be the tier. This could be the tier where we're back to the like 150 pulls of it feeling almost impossible for the race to world first because they're 10 item levels lower than everybody else is going to be when they actually get to that boss. That's the thing I'm really excited about this tier. Actually, one of the things that makes me so excited about this tier is the fact that the bigger eye level jump means that there's sort of more room for the bosses to be tuned to be hard for the world first, without then needing like massive nerfs for everybody else, because we're all going to be getting a bunch more item levels. There's like a Hellman chant that's coming out in the second month. There's a legendary weapon that's coming out at some point that we're going to have, some amount of other guilds are going to have that they're not going to have, and that makes it perfect for them to be able to balance this so that it's hard for them and not unfair for us, right?
We saw a bit of an extreme example of that, like again, going back to Hellfire Citadel, where it was all about the legendary ring.
Yeah.
This is probably considered an old system at this point, but it's like back then you got the legendary ring that you would just permanently upgrade, similar to I think how the Mop legendary cloak worked. I didn't play too much of Mop, so I'm not as familiar with that one. But it's just like once people got the ring, you know, you could start like going through the bosses a bit quicker. And I remember Gorfing was a bit of a wall where everyone's like, can't do it until we got the ring. But different story for World First Raiders, like you mentioned. So, but I do like this where it's like it's not all about that giant jump. There's a bit more of like staggered gear where it is nice when you have to rely less on nerfs and you can rely more on just gear acquisition for the like artificial buffs, basically.
Yeah, because you know the raid always does need to get easier over time, but I think whenever you can sort of see it coming and it feels like fair power gain for your characters, rather than Blizzard coming in and being like, all right, it's our 7th week of nerfing Anduin in a row. We've changed this mechanic to no longer exist on Mythic, and you know, we've doubled the duration of this or whatever. We've taken the Launder's bombs from 10 to 30 seconds. We've entirely just turned this fight into its heroic version or whatever. Like that's a much less satisfying way to kill a boss, right? Is to just wake up to a nerf version and kill that very quickly.
Yeah, there was and going back, there was one more thing that you said about like with tuning these kind of bosses here, right? Like Smolderon is very difficult.
Yeah.
Just to give examples for people that haven't really gone through these tiers, like Sludge Fist was extremely difficult, and Rygalon, right? Lots of pulls, really hard, simple mechanics, very tough to do. On the flip side, we had Guardian in Sanctum. That boss fell over for people. It was a very simple mechanic fight, but that one was tuned very easily. And then we saw the same thing with Magmarax, the last tier. So it felt like those were meant to be those bosses. And yeah, it's like there hasn't really been sort of in between. They're either too easy or really hard, but we all have enjoyed the very difficult versions, at least. I don't think we've ran into one where it's like, this is literally impossible.
Yeah, I mean, we do that in Race to World First, but I don't think it's happened with the Sludge Fist style bosses yet, right? Like, Razageth, I think, is a good example of a fight where you pull it and it's like, okay.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't...
This is mathematically impossible, right? And you sort of second-guessing yourself because you're like, is it? Maybe there's something we're missing. No, there wasn't. That fight, they needed to nerf that phase by 50% to be doable, which, that sort of thing. But that hasn't happened on a Sludge Fist style fight, exactly like you were saying, which, hopefully that streak continues. I think that style of fight in particular would be the worst kind of fight to have to do a numbers nerf to make it killable, right? Like,
yep.
That would be very sad.
Yeah, it definitely would. When it's all about like mastering the class, and it feels like if you're doing everything you can and you just can't quite kill it. This isn't even meant to be flame, but just when you see some competitors saying this boss is literally impossible, but then you still see some people trying to attempt it. And they're like, nah, we can, how much can we squeeze? We can do this. That's when like, at least from the race perspective, 10-10, like, viewing experience. I think, like, the thing I did enjoy watching the most was Sludge Fist and Rygalon, respectively, funny enough, for those reasons.
Yeah, that's why on Razageth I was so worried about making the mathematically impossible call when I was looking at that phase. It's like, you don't want to say mathematically impossible and then have the boss get killed through it, right? Which does happen. That's happened most times. Things get called mathematically impossible. Even back in the day, Yoggster on 0. That was, I think, something that was frequently said about that fight until it was killed. And it's like, oh yeah, you could just kite the ads. You don't have to actually do this math. You can run around with them for a bit.
That's the thing, is a lot of the times the math is actually correct. It's just some like clever use of game mechanics that people didn't think of.
You're not thinking outside the box enough on the fight. Or, I mean, obviously, I think people since then have done Yogg 0 on Classic and have proven like, okay, no, it wasn't mathematically impossible either, right?
Yeah,
we
were just
real bad.
Living room computers.
Yeah, exactly. The dial-up, the microwave turns on and your internet goes down. That
has actually happened to me.
Yeah,
like I've lived through that.
Yeah, that's happened to somebody in my guild before. I could not believe it when I heard it. They were like, we got to start the key in a few minutes. My sister's cooking something in the microwave. Like, okay, all right, that's a new one.
We've come a long way.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of the best parts about the Race World First, even in the era of the optimization getting to the point it has, Liquid, Echo, Method now, all being at this super high level, there is still an element of mystery and like, is this killable, right? And then coming up with those strategies and looking at those bosses and that, like you said, that feeling of this feels impossible, and then them overcoming that is one of the many reasons why the Race World First is the best thing.
Yeah, and how excited and how much time and stuff goes into it, because like we see this happen pretty often where some of the top teams, they'll turn off their stream because they're like, we know we found something pretty insane.
Yeah.
You of course don't want the other team to see it. Like, makes complete sense. But it's just like, I know some people don't like when they turn off streams, but I know for me, like when they turn it off, I'm like, this is like anticipation. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, we gotta see.
What are we gonna see when these come back on, right? Yeah, it's an interesting topic because it has happened. Both Echo and Liquid over several previous tiers, both have turned off streams at different points to varying degrees of success on different bosses. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's always a possibility. Any tier, it could happen if there's reason for it to happen. The call will be made. Obviously, we're always hoping. I always just love watching the race. I hope that doesn't happen this time, but. There's a lot of positions where tactically it just makes sense to do so. So
yeah,
it could well be something that happens any tier.
On the flip side, it is like a bit of a flex though. If you're like, we almost never muted comms, never turn off the stream. Like, that's like a bit of a flex if you can make it all the way.
That's true. I mean, I think going back to the start of the Race to World First as well, the Race to World First could have looked very different back in Gahoon when Method first started streaming with streaming the Race to World First and showing what they were doing. If they'd lost that tier, right? If Limit hadn't ended up like barely losing it at the end on Gahoon and had actually converted and won that World First, I wonder if the Race to World First would have just like stopped being streamed. If Method would have just been looked at and been like, okay, we were winning, we turned on our streams, we lost, we're never turning them on again, right? Like, I wonder if that would have been the conclusion from that, because on its face, like these teams are just built around one thing, which is winning this Race to World First, and yet they turn on their streams, which shows all this information, right? And it's such a contrast. Obviously, it gives them money, which lets them do this more. So there's some amount of give and take to it, but that tension is always there behind, the fact that every single thing they show it hurts their chances.
Honestly, like the money factor aside, where it's like, putting on these big productions, there's potential for it. That aside, I feel like if I were a Race to World First raider and there were still no streams at this point, although it would feel good winning, there's something about like we won and everyone saw it.
Exactly. Like if you think back to the old World First, I mean, they're iconic. They are, right? Like the Paragon Lich King, right? Like that's memorable, right? You can even before this was streamed, but since it's been streamed, it's been catapulted in front of so many more eyes, and it's so much more talked about as well. It's become so much more mainstream that I do think there's something special about that, and I think it is a lot of the appeal. There are people that are on these Race to World First guilds that have only been playing WoW since it started being streamed. I think, like Tobo, for instance. When did he start playing WoW? I think it was after Race to World First started being streamed, right?
Yeah, he's
like 2 years
very
or something.
New player.
Yeah, so that we're entering this generation now where the Race to World First, like this has been how it's been done now for the past 5 or 6 years or whatever. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I do remember like the old video upload days.
Yeah, you'd wait for 5 guilds to kill it, and then you could upload your kill video. That was the old like. It wasn't a rule, but it was sort of the convention that everybody adhered to. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the more iconic ones I remember is just from Firelands when when the Ragnaros got uploaded. It's like he has legs. Like that's like a famous. Well, for I guess people that have been around long enough, that's like a pretty famous like revelation where that was like I think that was just like a secret heroic thing only.
Yeah, on heroic. They're similar with Imperator Margok when like, oh no, you haven't won yet. Cho'Gall's coming out, right? Like those sorts of moments are. I remember even also Gul'dan, where you had the Illidan phase at the end of Gul'dan.
Illidan makes his reappearance.
Yeah, I remember hearing whispers about that because before the kill video came out, at that point, people were like, "Oh yeah, I heard from this person that heard from this person that heard that that Illidan comes out at the end of that fight." I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so cool."
Yeah, it was because like we hadn't seen his character in a while, and then he comes out with he like breaks out of this thing. He's saying his iconic lines.
Yeah,
makes the comeback, and it was like. So when you have those moments on these fights, it is so good. Like I love them.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had I think Gul'dan is the last time we had that really like epic mythic revelation, right? That's only on the hardest difficulty. There's been a lot of cool moments in these fights, but they've moved a lot of them to all difficulty levels. N'Zoth with the Heart of Azeroth chamber, I think, wasn't quite at that same level, and You know, like the Jailer Secret phase was not really anything story-wise like that. Anything where you look at it and you're like, wow, this is so sick, right?
Yeah.
So, Farak, though, there could be something. Me and Preach were talking about this earlier, but you never know what'll happen when this boss reaches 0%, right? Is it gonna die, or is there gonna be another phase? Like, what's gonna happen? Gonna be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Be really cool.
Sorry, I was getting some comms in here. But on that, I actually have like a little bit of well, to me it was like a little bit of a wholesome story. But like I have like a parent that watches the race world first. I don't know if you do. But
not
like,
usually, no. Once every couple of races, they'll be like, where can I watch your stream again or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom was watching. She doesn't know anything about this game. But she was watching like the Jailer, and then it was confusing because when you hit the secret phase, the shield would
the health goes back up. Yeah,
health went back up. She's like, she was watching, which I was surprised she even noticed this, but she's like, she sent me a text right when it happened. She's like, I thought Echo was in first. How come the percent went up though? What happened? And she was like invested. I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, that was like,
that's so cool.
That was
yeah,
wholesome for me. Yeah. She has no clue what's going on. She's like, she just noticed that, though. I was really impressed, honestly.
Yeah, you know what? Most of Twitch chat was also confused about that at the time, I remember. Yeah, it's like, how are Echo in first if their boss is higher percent? It's like, no, that's a phase 4%. That's, well, actually, I don't think, I think even their phase 4% was still lower than every other guild at the time in the earlier phases, but it's like, why did the health go up, right? Why did the percent go up? I thought they had a 10% full.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, that reminds me, too. I have to find it, but, like, a few years ago when I like graduated and I was looking for a job, my mom was like helping me write a resume, and she wrote down what she thought casting was for like a resume, and it had the cutest things on there, like helps people compare swords to know which one's better in World of Warcraft or whatever. Of course I thanked her for this wonderful, I have to see if I can find it, but it was like the cutest
really
thing
good.
I've ever seen, because she knew I was like, yeah, I want to do something with esports if I can. It was so cute. I have to see if I can find it. I'll like read it to people if they want to see
that would be good content. Especially crazy because comparing which items are going to be good or not is not one of your strong suits. I have seen an item drop for you and you just immediately are going and DMing somebody who knows anything about the class you play. Is this good for me?
Yeah, see, one of them is the healing officer in your guild who I pretty frequently just says, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I bother him a lot.
Yeah. Got to find those answers somehow. There's got to be somebody out there who's good at comparing swords in video games, but it's
like, hey,
not
how good
you.
is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, so Farak coming up here this is going very quickly here. They definitely started a little bit earlier than the 7:20 mark for sure, but Gingy Split is going to be getting finished here very quickly, and they are on full efficiency here, motoring through. This is going to be the third split finished in now less than 3 hours. So they're averaging under an hour per split now after this one goes down, which that's really good. That's really, really good. Of course, the first split had 9 bosses. The later splits, they've skipped some of the early bosses. I think they've skipped 3 bosses, so they've just been 6 boss splits. But still, if they can keep them under an hour per split, even if they want to do 12 characters, they can get that done today.
Yeah, and everyone wants to get past the splits as soon as we can, because, you know, even for, like we said, the last year, I think the splits actually lasted for about 3 days. There were some that were sprinkled here and there.
Yeah. The problem was, like, last year they didn't even really do much normal splits, right? It was kind of just all heroic all the time. So if we think about it, all the heroic that they did is still in the future. The heroic still all has to happen. This is normal that, like, normal difficulty, some tiers is just not something that matters that much, but this time around it really does. So even though they're progressing very quickly here, we may still be in for a lot of splits as we get to that heroic level, as they stop being able to run 4 in parallel and start having to run 2 or 3 in parallel instead. I suspect we are going to have a lot of opportunity to discuss whatever we want here on the couch for the next couple of days.
Yeah, like something I like to talk about a lot is pet battles.
Okay.
I feel like it's an underrepresented, underappreciated part of the WoW
Lots
community.
of new pets in the Emerald Dream as well. It's
there are a lot of new
vibrant
pets.
zone. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can talk to the one of the dryads there, and if you do enough, things around the zone, if you have a pet with a certain model, you can dream infuse it to get a.
Yeah, this is it's mounts as well. There's basically this vendor that has a bunch of pets and mounts that say, if you've already earned one of the ones of this family, then you can buy a green version with your Dream Infusions or whatever, or like a different version with your Dream Infusions, which, yeah, it's pretty cool. That's definitely something to always check out. Is that mob in the base camp that has that Dream Energy bar that you can mouse over above it.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend doing.
You do have to do a lot, but honestly, I'm kind of glad I did start farming those because it was incentive just for me to get a bunch of crests, which it turns out I pretty much needed all of them to upgrade like earlier versions of the gear. So
yeah, those early crests are really nice this week.
Yeah.
Not gonna like in a couple weeks time, it's not gonna matter too much, but for this week, having some extra of those dreams or whelplings, mostly the drakes, I guess. Those ones are nice to have a bunch of extras this week.
Yeah, they definitely were when you get those early M+ pieces that you want to upgrade. And God, looking back now, I'm still just so glad that we have the upgrade system. It just
it's so good.
It feels so much better instead
Look at those
of
pings. There's some pings going out on these at the start there. I guess they're gone now, but there were some pings on the spirits here, which is a cool use of the ping system to kind of indicate which one you're going to heal. Ping one of them maybe, and then
they were pinging like the specific
yeah, like
one.
okay, look, there's a new wave of spirits here. Let's see if any of those get pinged. They're going to be just by those raid frames. I don't see any pings on these, so maybe not. But there was on the previous side. I swear I'm not making this up. If you go back in the VOD, you'll see him.
No, I think you're making it up. It's all in your head.
Yeah, the ping system is really good. That's all I got to say. Ping system is so powerful. There's a lot of different uses I found for it, even during Aberrus Farm, like Echo Neltharion, just ping which portal you're going to. On Forgotten Experiments, I had a macro that just pinged my other tank with On My Way, because you had to run on top of the other tank to clear with them, and I would just show you where they were. A lot of cool tech there. I suspect we're going to see a lot of pings in this race once we get to the actual fights.
Yeah, it's like a nice alternative to the marks as well, because you only have so many of those, and you kind of just want to keep those down permanently. But the pings is just like a perfect middle ground where it's like you kind of want to, if you just want to draw a trail where you want someone to go, or, I mean, I'm pretty much just describing how pings work. People know how pings work.
Yeah, but I think there are a lot of people who aren't used to using them yet, right? Because
even I haven't used them.
Yeah, and they haven't been used for prog. Like you haven't seen Echo using them as part of their strat yet, or anything like that, right? So once kill videos come out where that's like part of the strategy, I bet there will be more of us making sure they're bound to something nice and trying to add them to our muscle memory in this game, because they're legitimately really powerful tools to use here.
Yeah, eventually they may be converted into usages like that instead of just being spammed.
Yeah, that's another important use. Yeah, there's just macro the person in your guild that you're trying to annoy on my way, on my way pings. You just spam on all your buttons. That's another great way to use pings. I wonder if we're ever going to go down the League of Legends path of just restricting the pings after introducing them. You see League of Legends is doing that, where you can only send like 3 of a certain type of ping or whatever in a certain window now.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that in League, they've like kind of been locking down a bit on the spamming. There's even something now too, where if someone enters a match and they just mute everyone, it tells everyone in your party that they have muted all of you. So they're just.
It's good tech, yeah.
I think it's good to like. Honestly, I think like. For your own sanity, or because if you know you yourself are a rager and you want to mute everyone, I think it's a fair, I think it's a pretty good system update in there. It's not speaking from myself, by the way.
Of course not.
I've only been banned once on League, and that's over 10 years, so I think that's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Still got the one account.
All things considered, that's a really good outcome, yeah?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, of course. I've always thought that WoW is a lot less toxic as well. Like, it depends on what part of the game you're in, but as a sort of compared to League, I've always felt like I feel like the pings are in less danger of being abused here. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, when pings are getting abused, it's probably within a guild at your friend.
Yeah.
Rather than something you'll like spam at somebody in a pug. I'm sure that's going to happen to some extent, but I think it'll be a little bit less of a problem in this game than in that one.
Yeah.
Okay, here come those seeds. This is a pretty cool mechanic in the Farak fight. These sort of similar to Halandras bombs, where there are these seeds. When you get them, you get an extra action button to like shield you and your nearby buddies. But if those seeds or the person holding them get hit by pretty much any of the fire mechanics, then they instead turn into fire seeds that are bad, and you lose the ability to get that shield as well. So pretty nifty mechanic. I can't wait to see how it turns out on Mythic. Of course, on normal, it's there's a lot of wiggle room with how you can handle it.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the breakdown is going to be with like the seed carriers. Like, is it just going to be like maybe there's some crazy tech where it's like these classes should definitely just have it, or if it's like, you know what, we're just going to give it to our most reliable players. But a lot remains to be seen, especially once we get to Mythic, because this fight will certainly not be working the same way that we're seeing here. I mean, maybe the seeds themselves would even be changed. Don't know. Haven't seen anything yet. Only just these normal splits with these very clear point of views from all the players.
Yeah, it's four parallel normal splits. And again, for anybody just tuning in, that's probably the order of business for the next several hours here, if not most of the day, is going to be these normal splits. Reason we're not starting off with Heroic like we did last year, 13 more item levels of gap between the gear we started with and the difficulty of the content. So that requires more work gearing up. Getting this normal splits done last year, you already had normal eye-level gear from Mythic Vaulted Incarnates, right? This tier, you only have LFR quality gear from Mythic Aberrus, so doing normal is a power spike compared to that, and that means it's much more worth doing rather than the sort of target farm specific trinkets or tier pieces, which was what normal was relegated to last year.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we were discussing as well, since the gap is so much bigger, and like you said, we're pretty much going in with current LFR gear. I almost wonder if we're later going to see some LFR splits, which I know
think it's possible. I mean, there's 2 tier bosses in the early LFR, but it looks like we've got a close-up here, which I think means this might be time for a fun little segment here between this and our next split coverage here. Production, let me know if I'm correct in this assessment. I am correct. All right, so I think the lore here is that we are going to apply a skin to our nearby secret lab chair that we've got here. That sounds like a pretty fun thing to do. Let's see if I've got the range on my headset to get over here. Okay, we've got wireless mics apparently. They are incoming. Okay, cool. So once those arrive, we'll be able to get over here and apply this. Now, I've never done this before. I don't know what this looks like. This hopefully is going to be a pretty fun process.
I don't either. I would assume it's kind of like maybe a car seat kind of thing. Like I see people put some of those over it, but
yeah, let's see how it turns out.
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much. Red microphone here. I guess I'll mute this one.
All right, I'll stay out of frame because no one wants to see that. And then I'm not sure it's I don't think it's going through for me. All right, well, we'll just see if we can maybe. Yes, also we can just make sure we get a thumbs up if they can hear you or not. Okay, it's not working yet, but that's good because no one wants to listen to you anyway.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll keep talking to just test if the sound's good. I don't know. At some point, maybe it will. I think it's on.
Oh, yeah, it is. I can actually hear you.